Welcome, welcome everybody to today's stream. Let's enjoy the new map and the new content. And we also have giveaways going on, as well as Twitch drops as well. So much stuff happening. It's crazy. So let me set up everything and we should be ready to go. So here we are. And the giveaway is already up. So if you want to join, welcome Northgrim, welcome, welcome. You want to join? Just !enter or ticket in the chat. You have to be a Twitch follower to win. Subscribers get 5 times the luck. We have 400 gems on the line, sponsored by ArenaNet. And I wish you everybody good luck. And we will draw the winner in like a couple of, like, let's say half an hour or something, maybe like that. And we do the meta event on the new map. Yeah, we check it out, see how it is. And if it's, like, I did it once yesterday. And let's see if it's today, like, better or worse. But, you know, we can get a really rare mount skin nowadays as well. How is it called? Swift Wing Mount Skin. 1,500 gold. It's actually, I would have guessed it's more expensive. I guess it's actually the drop rates are pretty high then. Because this is like, I would say, nice to get a mount skin from the expansion map. And I would guess that more people like it, but apparently not, or it's just very common. But it's nice, you know, that's a rare reward that you can get from doing this event. And I think even other events on this map. So pretty cool, pretty cool. But yeah, as usual, if you have any comments, any questions, just let me know. Welcome, welcome everybody. And currently there are drops ongoing exactly on Twitch. So you get, I think, some minis and some skins. And yeah, if you want to get them, just connect your Guild Wars 2 account with your Twitch account. And if you don't know how to do that, you can type !drops in the chat. And it should explain it there. But it's pretty easy. In the end, it's just like, you have to have a Twitch account and connect it. That's really like one button press. It's pretty straightforward, and I think it's definitely worth it. This time the drops, I would say, are mediocre, not like insane. But, you know, who knows what's coming with the next one. Maybe next time we get like backslot expansions or something like that, which is useful for almost everybody. And I would even say for people that just want to have more skins, more minis, more... This time I think it's even a glider skin in there. So it's actually pretty solid, yeah. At least if you like the skins. Welcome, Rox. Welcome, welcome. Welcome, Tasha, as well. Yeah, don't forget to enter the giveaway. You have to be a Twitch follower to win, and we will draw the winner in a couple, let's say, half an hour or something like that. And subscribers get 5 times the luck, so good luck to everybody. It's sponsored by ArenaNet, so yeah, 400 gems on the line. That's, I think, pretty nice, and we will do way more giveaways during this week because I'm hyped with the new content, with the new patch. And yeah, we will see how long I need. Yeah, no YouTube giveaway, not yet, Dark Magic. We will do a YouTube giveaway very soon as well. But right now there are Twitch drops going on, so I guess that most people are not watching on YouTube anyway, because you will not get the Twitch drops, obviously, on YouTube. So I thought it makes more sense to do the giveaway on the platform where more people are watching. But we will change in the future and do a YouTube giveaway as well. It's just how it goes. Right now there are more people on Twitch. That's majority rules, so to say. Yeah. If it says failed to enter, that means that you're already in. That's how it works. Welcome, Mitchbane. Welcome, welcome. How are you doing? How are you all doing? Yeah, I really wanted to stream this new content and new, like, my experience going through maybe even the story later, but really wanted to see how the meta event plays out after a couple of hours, if everybody is like already is like knowing what to do, or if it's just like a chaotic event. We will see. But I just want to stream the experience when a lot of players are engaging with the new map, because I have to be honest, I was really missing this experience of getting new things to explore. You know, the last time we had it was with Visions of Eternity's release, and I feel like that while the release was really good, it's now a long time ago, you know, for me at least. It's 6 months since it was like that, and I feel like this is a experience that you really like in Guild Wars 2. That's the common Guild Wars 2 experience, doing meta events, doing some open world content. And that was a bit missing for me in my, so to say, Guild Wars 2 experience. And now it's back. And I really want to share that, so to say, on stream as well. Yeah. 7 million karma, 50k research nodes, 10 stacks of Ector and Mystic Tribute. Yeah, it's expensive. I think the goal of this whole thing is that you have the ability to get the new Stellar Radiance accessory, the legendary accessory, as an open world player. But I think ArenaNet is really trying to make the open world a place where you can get stuff very easily. Yeah, so for example, Obsidian Legendary Armor, the Legendary Ring, and stuff like that. But rather expensive at that. The ring might be a bit of an exception, but for example, the back piece Aurochs is extremely expensive still to this day for back piece. And you have the new open world legendary accessory also being really expensive. So I think this is something that ArenaNet is deliberately doing. So they want to make the content that is very accessible, everybody can do, the most expensive legendary to get, because this will make it so that people that are a bit on a budget, that they want to say, okay, I am willing to go in different game modes and save some gold, that they do that. Because if it's the cheapest and the easiest to get, then almost nobody will go for the raid legendary trinkets and stuff like that. Hopefully that makes sense. I think that is a rather like good thing, yeah, to have. Yeah, more build videos coming up on YouTube as well. Don't worry, don't worry. Exactly. I think they focused on raiding with the last patch, and this time they focus on the open world stuff, which means that the legendary trinket is really open world favored. You know, you just have to do open world. That's pretty much it. But you have to spend some gold to actually get this, so to say, ease of use legendary. I think that makes sense. I'm not like saying it needs to be that expensive, but I think it makes sense to have a reason to go for different kind of legendaries for different kind of players. I think that makes sense. Yeah. And it's also, of course, on top of that, it has a different skin and not everybody likes the skin. Yeah. Thanks a lot, Northgren. Really appreciate it. Thanks a lot. 2 months. Very good. Very good. You have now a higher chance of winning the gem giveaway. That's how it works. Yeah, 50k research nodes. Yeah, I'm not joking. 50k research nodes, which is obviously not only insane of a number, but it's also really annoying. Like research nodes is pretty much, I have to be honest, like I did like a couple of weeks ago a currency tier list, and I would probably say research nodes is the most boring currency, or most annoying currency rather, in existence. I think there's no currency in Guild Wars 2 that is more annoying to get than research nodes. I think it's just an artificial way to decrease inflation, which makes sense, but it's really boring, like really. So 50k, I'm happy that I, so to say, don't have to like instantly get the legendary accessory, because 50k on day one, that can get pretty expensive and pretty like sitting a lot on the crafting bench if you want to save some money. Yeah, for sure. For sure. I really only would want legendary armor to freely swap between builds, but on the other hand, I'm being told it's very last thing to do. I'm struggling to get pieces for a leg build. I would say you should go, like, I personally would say getting the legendary armor rather fast is not a bad thing. I actually think it's actually, for players that want to swap some builds around, it's a pretty solid thing to get early. Like, especially if you go for the Obsidian one, it's not bad. It definitely isn't. I think it's actually a pretty solid starter legendary. Yeah, I think one of the best ones is obviously the legendary accessory. Yeah, the one from the open world one, the Prismatic Champions Regalia, and maybe the Fractal Gloves. But other than that, legendary armor, yeah, I think it's actually pretty solid. Pretty solid. Let's turn up the music a bit, because I feel like the music on the new map is actually quite good. I really enjoy it. Now we have to shoot the leaks here. Interesting way of closing the leaks, but okay. Yeah, very good. Exactly, I think it's good that karma gets more of a purpose. I know a lot of people are like, oh my god, you know, so much karma. But I personally think karma is a currency that is like all abundant, in the sense that you get it from almost everything. But at the end of the day, you also need it for almost everything. And I think it makes sense to have some karma things, because especially open world players tend to have a lot of like karma, because they do a lot of events and stuff. So I think it's actually I'm pretty solid with that. Like, I think it's like 7 million karmas seems like a lot, but you only do it once, you know? And veterans like me have like millions, like tens of millions of karma lying around anyway. So it's probably not a big issue for those players. But yeah, that's just my opinion. Yeah. Don't worry much, Ben. You know, I think the cool part is you don't have to go for the new accessory. We have the ones from the open world already, and we have the rings. We have, for, so to say, a lot of choices. You don't have to go for this specific legendary if you have, for example, play some raids, if you play some other things. Because I think that makes Guild Wars 2 legendary acquisition pretty nice. Because it's one of the things that is really tedious if there is just one legendary for one slot, and you have to do that even if you really hate it to get the legendary. Nowadays, that's not the case anymore, and I think that's a good thing. Yeah. How do you manage inventory with 50k research nodes even? It's mostly just like salvaging. That's pretty much it. Like you salvage pretty much like research rather, some of the things that you need to craft, like crafting some potions, crafting some things. It's just an annoying thing. I would say 50k research nodes, that's probably spending an hour or something researching, which is annoying, but like I said, you only do it once, and it's the intent here is not to make the players happy, it's to make the economy somewhat stable, because having a rather huge amount of influx of just raw materials that you need to craft is really good, because that means that the all-time materials are not going down too much. I think that's the whole idea. 7 million karma for the new legendary accessory, Stellar Radiance. That's what you need, at least, yeah. I used to salvage converted ascended pieces, but I removed it. Yeah, it's a bit sad that they removed it, but I guess they didn't want that to be one of the main parts of how to get salvage research nodes. Spend my last karma for gold. 7 million karma is insane. I mean, I have to be honest. I always, when people ask, should I convert my karma into gold, I always say, be really careful to do that, because the conversion rates are not that good. And there might be some big things that you might want to do in the future. I think that for getting all the Oreen legendary skins, you need like over 30 million karma. So yeah, it's pretty hefty, the things that we have if you go for that. Exactly. It's like the veterans are not hurt by it, but new players are it's a pretty hefty thing. But again, legendaries are a longevity item, and I think it makes sense that even like veterans sometimes have to sweat to get this amount, because I think it's a longevity. You don't want to have people that are new playing Visions of Eternity as their first expansion and instantly on day one can craft the first legendary, the new one. I think that is not the design intent of a legendary. I might be a bit like, this might be a bit of a hot take, but I personally think it's important to mention this, that legendaries are supposed to be something that is grinded over the course of months and not over the course of days. That's why I think it makes sense to have a rather high amount. Yeah, exactly. I think Vishay is right. I think almost every legendary is somewhat expensive. I think the new ones are just like, because people wanted to have right now, that seems the most expensive. But I think almost every legendary has some kind of pretty expensive cost attached to it, depending on what game mode, of course. Yeah, I think the Guild Wars 2 economy is doing really well because of decisions like that, where they make decisions that are for players not always the right ones, but for the economy as a whole, they are the right ones. Yeah. Yeah, you can get a lot of karma from farming open world from Living World Season 4, for example. That is correct. Yeah. You get 50k research nodes by just like researching a lot of your just random like potions that you craft, for example. I have a full guide of how to get research nodes rather lazily, and that will work there very well, but it's always some kind of like time cost attached to it as well as a gold cost. So I think it's never something that is very pleasant. I think it's now a bit loud though, the music. But I really like the music here on the new map. That's good. That's a forced dichotomy. It's not day one or millions of karma. Yeah, I'm not saying that it's the best way to solve it, Tasha. I think you're completely right there. I think it's not the best way, but I think it makes sense in the eyes of the developers to make some cost attached to it, I would say. Yeah. Yeah, the new legendary World vs. World one, I'm a bit like, this one, I'm a bit like skeptical, because the costs for the World vs. World one are insanely high. And I would say it's also like requiring you, for example, to purchase the Mist Walker infusions or something. So it's like, it has some things attached to the legendary that are somewhat annoying. Not like giga annoying, but it's like on top of some pretty spicy things. You have to to do Edge of the Mist, for example, which is also a bit weird. But either way, I think it's, yeah, I mean, it could be better. I think the legendaries are a bit like of a pain point with this release, not because of the looks or something, but more of the acquisition. But I mean, there's always something. Yeah, there's always something. Chance Waltz is a decent karma to gold rate. You can exchange your materials for homestead materials. Yeah, but it's weekly locked. You cannot do that infinitely. Yeah. Those plus karma shards with 19 silver per item. Yeah, I know. It has a really good conversion rate, but it's a weekly lock. So it's not something that you can like do infinitely, or at least if you want to convert it right now. So I personally would say it's a good like conversion, but I would rather keep my karma for exactly this reason. If I want to go for legendaries when they drop, I keep my karma. That's why I save and save and save karma. And I guess I also play a lot of Guild Wars 2. That means that I have a lot of karma, I guess. Yeah, exactly. You lose the infusion to get the legendary. I think it makes sense to have a big ticket sink, but losing the infusion to get the legendary is for me a bit like, why? Is it not better to have to buy the infusion and then you can keep it? I think it's a bit mean, but I guess they want to have a sink for the infusions that are on the trading post, for example. I don't know. Like I said, I think I really would like to speak to the economy manager of like the in-game economy, but they have a reason to do so. I would be very scared if they haven't. Yeah. 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 The problem is, who is this legendary for? Veterans who could afford it probably already had Vision and Aura, and new players can't afford it, so they make Vision and Aura instead. I think it's like for play. Don't forget that they now have 3 open world, essentially like 4 if you can go for 2 Stellar Radiance, 4 legendary accessories. But not everybody has every expansion. And if you don't have, for example, the Living Worlds, then this is the only legendary that you can get if you have the Visions of Eternity expansion. I think this is actually like something that you need to consider as well. Not everybody has every expansion. But I get your point. I think this is like in general like, but legendaries are never for completely new players. That's just not how it's meant to be. Legendaries are always for somewhat of veteran players. But I get your point. I think having a big ticket item and new players, the target audience is a bit weird, like a paradoxon almost. Yeah. Yeah. I want to speak to the manager, yeah. I mean, not necessarily in a bad way, but I really would like to know the so to say, the reasoning behind some of the economy decisions they do. Because yes, I think they have some longevity of the game in mind, but I also would really like to know why they decided to make, for example, this now a rather big research node and karma sink, whereas, for example, Aurochs did not have a big karma sink in there, even though it's also open world. Why do they like go for some of the things in certain legendaries, while on other legendaries a completely different approach? I would really like to see that. Yeah, the infinite ones are also, the infinite siege things are also a really like big ticket cost attached to it, that is true, but I think this is something that like even tryhard world versus world players don't necessarily need. It's just for someone that actually wants to have a big like ticket sink. So I think that's fine there, but for legendary that actually fills a slot that you might want to get really for the legendary item itself, not for the grind, is pretty hard, pretty hefty. Yeah. Actually, I had a question about one of the builds you posted on YouTube, the Core Ellie build. Is there a higher DPS elite spec version? Yes, you can play the same one with Evoker and do pretty much like, yeah, I don't know the exact numbers, but quite a bit more damage. Yeah. But it's also more spammy, so that would be the way to do it. Welcome, Patricia. Welcome. How are you doing today? And good morning, Scry. Welcome. Thief or Guardian for my main character? I would probably say Guardian is a bit like more flexible, but you should always choose the one that you actually enjoy the most. If you enjoy Thief more, go for Thief, but I think from flexibility standpoints, it's probably better to go for a Guardian. It is so flexible, it's so strong. Yeah, I really would say that. Yeah, PvP, I think they abandoned PvP in terms of legendaries. I think PvP is such a niche game mode that they said raids, open world, and world versus world, those are the game modes that we focus on with legendaries. Maybe in the future, if there's ever like maybe a push season or something, maybe they attach legendary to that. If that ever comes true, I doubt it, but you know, you can still hope. But I just don't see it. It's such a niche game mode. I really like to play PvP, don't get me wrong. I play it every day, but it's not for everybody, and I think it would be a somewhat wasted development effort, I would guess. Yeah. either way, just a reminder, if you want to join the giveaway, we have a 400 gem giveaway on the line on Twitch. You have to type !enter or ticket. You have to be a Twitch follower to win. Subscribers get 5 times the luck. And we will draw the winner in like a couple of minutes. And yeah, sponsored by ArenaNet. What can I say? Yeah, PvP is really fun. Like, I like it a lot. And glad I can bring some more people in there. Putting Gift of Exploration to World vs. World would be dope. That would be a cool change. That would bring a lot of people in there. But I guess on the other side of the coin is always like they want to make something that is a bit like you have to do a certain thing for a certain legendary, and they don't want you to completely circumvent something. Do I not have to do, like, what do I have to do? Like, some kind of emote here. Why does it not work? Like, I don't know. I don't know. I thought any emote works, but who knows? What class you play mostly in PvP at the moment? Evoker. I play Elementalist the most. I think it's really fun right now. Just a little tired? No, it's actually, like, tired is like, I think, a state that I'm constantly in, but I can get that. Patricia, you know, hopefully the new patch hypes you up enough that you actually, like, are not that tired anymore. But I think I'm pretty good right now. Like, let's see how tired I am after doing the story. I heard it's a pretty long, like, sluggish thing, but we will see, we will see. Yes, I will do the World vs. World achievement stuff. Not necessarily today, because some of it is a bit like I can show it here. Where is it? Where is it? World vs. World, I think, there. And then collections, and then where is it? Here. It's like you have to get the Mistwalker infusion, and then you have to do some things that is, I would say, not something that you can do live on stream, because I cannot guarantee it. So I cannot guarantee to get, for example, capture a keep of the enemy team in the Eternal Battlegrounds. That will happen maybe on stream if we have enough players, if we can engage for it, but it's not something I can force. You know, I'm just a single player. So this is something that I think Strife on Ending is something that I will do in like the next couple of weeks, just by playing World vs. World on stream, off stream, and getting some more tickets, getting some progress, and at some point I get it. But it's not something I can do on day one, because it's just, it does not have the, like, I have not the capabilities of doing it alone. Yeah. So can I, like, I don't know. I thought there's an achievement to dance with the grabs or something here, but I guess it doesn't work. Yeah. If it says too many tickets, you're already in. Yeah, the new story is very unique. Yeah, I heard it's pretty, what can I say? It's pretty, without spoiling, it's not to everybody's liking. Yeah, that's, I would say. Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah, we have to do like Commander, a raid run on Edge of the Mist, I guess. Yeah, exactly. We have to do that at some point. Nah, I'm fine, Patricia. I'm fine. I just wanted to get a lot of content out. That's the main thing. I'm okay. I'm okay. Don't worry. Tedious. That's the word. Exactly. That's the word. I'm not like, maybe we do the story now, maybe we do it later. But the point about the story is that I feel like it, as far as I can tell, it has a lot of like things in there that make it longer than it needs to be. And I think that's not necessarily what people that enjoy story want. You know, story is something that you want to have some lore behind it. You want to have some interesting developments and some exciting things, but not necessarily something that just forces you to stay very long in an instance, if the instance does not provide that much value in the first place. Yeah. Okay, let's do some more map exploration, and we will see. We will just explore the map, and if I have enough energy, we will do some yeah, story after that as well. Yeah. I agree with Teapot with the story. I think the main part about the story is that people that are into story is like, everything comes together in the last episode, and that's always not the best option. Thanks, Tommy, and really appreciate it, Prime. Hope you're enjoying the stream. You have now a higher chance of winning the giveaway. Very good. More to the pillar on the platform. Okay, let's do that before it goes away. Yeah, wave. More to the pillar on the platform. Okay, let's do that. Thanks for letting me know, concerned Hobbit. Really appreciate it. Yeah, I think like the problem is there are always people that are not happy with it, you know. There we go. Thanks. Very good. Now we got it. Guild, like, I think it's not only about Guild Wars 2's community. I think it's in general the case that if you have an online product or any product, there's always a big, like, group of people that are happy with it and are not, like, necessarily complaining or being, like, raising their voice, so to say. But then there is always a minority, hopefully, that is just very loud and complains about it. And that is the same for Guild Wars 2. You know, you have really big complainers about this patch now, but I think it's actually one of the better quarterly releases out there. It might not be perfect, and I think it's far from perfect, yeah. But I think from the new map and stuff, from the design, I actually enjoy it. I think it's actually a pretty fun map. The meta event could have a bigger end boss, yeah. But I think in general, it's actually, I'm happy with it for now, yeah. I have not bought the Raptor mount yet, yeah. But we really miss a bit of the story pieces. That's the main concern here, that the story is just not completely, so to say, the bundle is closing and, so to say, the big reveal is happening in the last chapter, and we conclude probably in the last chapter as well. So it's like everything in the last patch, which is a bit like, okay, is that like really necessary, or could we not have a bit of a more not rushed experience for that? But I guess that's what they went for, yeah. That's, I guess, what they went for. And the masteries are also using like insane amount of, like, this is like 6.6 million experience. So it's like insane amount of experience that you need. I'm already like almost halfway through with the first one, but it's a lot. It's a lot of experience that you need. Yeah. How good is Amalgam for Zerg and roaming in World vs. World? In roaming, it's like top tier. In Zerg, I would say it's really good in a certain squad composition, but in general, it's a good pick as a DPS, yeah. Amalgam is overall in all game modes pretty good. Destroy the artifact. Okay, let's do that then. It's negative bias, yes. People who enjoy it are less likely to post about it than people complaining. Exactly. I'm not saying that this patch is perfect, but I'm not someone that will complain on the forums or on Reddit, because I'm actually happy with a lot of the parts of the patch that is like there. And that is just not necessarily a good thing for the look of the game. But I think that goes for every game. Like, there's always someone complaining on some kind of online platform about something, about anything. And I think this patch is less deserving of complaint than a lot of previous patches. I think it's definitely better than the last patch of Chantal Wilds, for example. I think the map is better, the meta event is better, we have nicer legendaries to go for, two of them. I think that is, for me, something that is more, like, I like it a bit more, but maybe someone else has a completely different opinion, and that's completely justified as well, after all. Yeah. Exactly. Amalgam is meta DPS in Zerg. Yeah, Amalgam is really good. Like, in general, in World vs. World or in all game modes, Amalgam is meta. So thanks, Wiz, for pointing that out. I did not want to sound too negative about it. I'm just saying it's not the only DPS you can play. There are others as well. Yeah. The meta feels weird. We did it first try yesterday and no one understood it. No need to kill all platforms at the same time. Also, grabs have low HP. I think it's like one of the common criticisms that we had with the Visions of Eternity meta event in the second map in Starlit Welt was that it is too sluggish and too annoying to deal with. And now this one is, in my opinion, more fast-paced, and I think that's exactly what I was looking for. Just a meta event that I can join and I'm done in like 15 minutes. I think that is really nice. I agree that it feels a bit like not as exciting because you don't need any coordination. It's like you just kill it and that's okay. You know, it doesn't matter. You can just follow the train of people and it will work. But I think that's what Guild Wars 2 metas can be as well. Not everything has to be perfectly like executed and stuff like that, like in the beginning, Dragon's End, for example. I think I'm actually positive that it's somewhat fast-paced as a meta event. At least for me, yeah. Yeah. How's solo roaming after World vs. World chance? Is it still worth it? Yeah, I would say so. Solo roaming is like fun and still worth it for the most part. But roaming is always less, what can I say, less rewarding in terms of content and like, how can I say, in terms of rewards. than if you go in a Zerg. That's just the nature of it. You will never get to the Zerg numbers in terms of gold and world versus world experience and everything like that. If you compare it to roaming, it just doesn't work. Zerg is just always better. When is the final patch coming out? So according to the special tab, in 111 days. So I guess end of August, early September. That seems to be where they land. But it's obviously subject to change, so we have to see. Yeah. Do you think this is the last expansion for Guild Wars 2? Haven't heard anything about the next one. I think there might be one more, but I think it's hard to tell without them confirming anything, because, you know, it's a bit weird that they haven't confirmed it yet. And I guess because of that, it's probably, there is a reason why they haven't confirmed it. So I would say there is another one, but it's a bit different than the ones before that. That would be my educated guess. What exactly it will look like, how and what, I have no clue. So how do you get in here? So this map is the third map. Now, this is the third map that we got released yesterday. Yeah. So we were talking about this meta event on this map. Yeah. And the Starlit Welt one, so the second one is, in my opinion, less exciting than this one. Personally, yeah. I feel like it. I done the World vs. World accessory in 6 hours yesterday. Capping stuff is annoying as hell. Yeah. I mean, that is impressive that you did it so fast, but I can imagine that it can be pretty exhausting to get some of the caps for some of the achievements unlocks. That can be pretty hard to come by, depending on the servers that you're on, I would say. But congrats that you made it so fast. They could do Living World Seasons of the Sun. They could do that. They could do that, yeah. I'm not sure. Is the Griffin worth mount getting? Yes, 100%. I think it's extremely good. Like, the Griffin is very underrated, very good mount, and I think in the end for Guild Wars 2 you want to get all the mounts. It's not like there are that many. I would say they are worthwhile getting for sure. Nice. Some new achievements, very good. I think they are going to announce Guild Wars 3, but I don't think they will abandon Guild Wars 2. Exactly. I think that is the main, I would say, statement that a lot of people would say this is what's gonna happen. I would be very surprised if they wouldn't abandon Guild Wars 2 as their main product. Like, they will continue doing it, but Guild Wars 3 will be the main product. And if that will ever come out in the future, just the next expansion might be bridging into that, I would say. Falks. Okay, let's go and kill Falks. Is the mount selection circle an add-on? Yes. I have a guide how to set that one up. It's called Mounts and More add-on. It's a really nice tool to have. It's completely legal. And I would say it's just something that makes the game more enjoyable. Brace yourselves. You will be hindered soon. Okay. Okay, interesting. Yeah, glad you enjoyed, Chris. Glad you enjoyed. More to come, more to come. I don't think there will be a Guild Wars 3. Guild Wars 2 by itself is fine, and they would work on Guild Wars 1 Mobile. I think that is, like, some people have that opinion, but I think with the job listings and stuff, it's pretty obvious that they're working on something in the background. I made a whole video about this topic, proving, so to say, my points here. You can check it out on my YouTube channel, but in general, I would say I would be very surprised if there is no Guild Wars 3 in the near future. Yeah, near future meaning like in the next couple of years. I would be very surprised. Not saying that Guild Wars 2 will die because of that. Please keep that in mind as well. I'm just saying it's very likely from what we have like information about in the background. Not meaning any insider information, just meaning like looking at job posts, looking at like the development of the Guild Wars 2 content. Yeah. Yeah, this weekend will be exciting when Teapot is dropping his interesting video. Yeah, I will be looking forward to that one for sure. How long did it take you to finish the second part of the story? I actually didn't do it yet. I will do the story later on stream, at least some parts of it. And because I really like the map and stuff and exploring, I don't really care too much about the story. So I never really like to do the story. I just like, it's for me a tedious thing, especially if it's that long as it is in this current one. So maybe later. Yeah. Welcome, Baron. Welcome. So after this event, we will draw the giveaway winner. So don't forget to enter. You have to be a Twitch follower to win. 400 gems are on the line. Subscribers get 5 times the luck. ! Ticket in the chat. Or enter. If you're already in, it says too many tickets. So be careful there. Announcing Guild Wars 3 while keeping Guild Wars 2 would be unwise. A lot of people will just not try Guild Wars 2 and wait for Guild Wars 3. I think they have to decide what's the best way to approach it. I'm just saying it's quite likely that they are working on something in the background. Yeah, I think the story, I don't want to do the story too fast because I feel like a lot of the story can be a bit like slow and tedious to do. And I would rather do the stuff that I enjoy the most first and then slowly do the story whenever I feel like it. In the previous releases, I always did like the story as the first thing. And I was already like a bit like annoyed at the patch by just not having to do the cool stuff. Now I just do the cool stuff, and whenever I'm like not feeling like doing any more of the map, then I go and do the story. So I don't rush it. I think we have 3 months until new story drops, so I think I don't need to do it on the first day. Yeah. Yeah, I keep track of the Guild Wars 3 Reddit. It's pretty exciting, yeah. Also about the Discord server of them. Yeah, it's pretty exciting about the background information that people can actually acquire via the internet without having any inside information, just by looking at like public job posts, listings, and stuff like that. Yeah. But it will be one of those cross-platform MMOs that plays on mobile too, like Genshin, hopefully not Gacha though. Yeah, I think it's quite likely that it will be on mobile, and not necessarily on mobile. I think mobile is unlikely, but I think it will be on consoles, so that there are more players possible to play that. Yeah, I think that is the most likely case. There we go, did it. Very nice. There are a lot of achievements on this map, like a lot of them. I also want to get the relics. How many more do I have to get? 2 more. That's fine. I think both of them are bound to the story, aren't they? Like, story and Castorian Cursebreaker achievement. Okay. That's fine. That's fine. Okay, so I said we will draw the giveaway winner. Let's do that now. Good luck to everybody. I will read the chat message, and then in 1 minute I draw. How long does it take to sell a legendary? Because I crafted one to sell it. It's taken a couple of days so far on the trading post. It depends. Sometimes it sells within an hour. Sometimes it needs a week. But it will sell, or you just have to relist it. Sadly, that happens at some point. Yeah. I know about it, Tasha. I know about it. I don't want to talk too much about it on stream because obviously that's more like behind the scenes material. But it's exciting. Yeah. Is this the build you played in the latest video? This is the build of the latest video, yes. I have 2 builds. I have a solo setup and I have a quick normal DPS one. Yes, and I play both of them depending on the content that I'm doing. Yes. Okay, it's time. Good luck to everybody. We will draw the giveaway winner now. And hopefully you are all entered. And the winner is God Throw with a 2.8% chance to win. Congrats. Let me know your account name. Or not true. I will whisper you, but let me know if you're on Steam or the actual Guild Wars 2 client. Because if you're on Steam, I will send you gold instead. Because you cannot get the gem code, sadly, if you're on Steam. So let me know if you're on Steam or not. And then I will send you the gem code. You're on Steam. Okay. Then I will send you the gold instead. Let me know your Guild Wars 2 account name then, please. Because otherwise I cannot send you the gold. That's not how it works, sadly. I will send you 100 gold instead. That's how it works. Sadly, I think it's really crazy that this is like gem codes. They have a lot of gem codes and stuff. But the thing is like that we don't have like the gem codes can go to Steam, even though Steam was introduced so late, is actually a crazy, like, I wouldn't say error, but like technical sad thing that this doesn't work. We will do another one, don't worry. We will do more gem codes giveaways in the future. Like next hour, we will do another one, and we will start it directly after I send this one. So congrats to you again, Godthrow. And Hope that... Oh my god, that's not what I wanted to do. There we go. So, congrats. And I will open directly the next one. Give me a second. There we go. Next gem giveaway up. Exclamation mark ticket in the chat or enter. You have to be a Twitch follower to win. Subscribers get 5 times luck. 400 gems sponsored by ArenaNet. And yeah, good luck to everybody. Hey Sim, I want to try a heal elementalist. If I take Minstrel gear, can I get a decent health? Yes, I would say Minstrel on healers is a good way to survive on elementalist, which is a lower health pool class with light armor. So I think that makes sense to run Minstrel there, Minstrel Tempest, Minstrel, whatever you're playing. Works well. Yes, good choice. Good choice. Yeah. Keep in mind that if you're playing Minstrel in raids, sometimes you might be the tank then, but that can be solved. You know, that is just something in a very small fraction of the content that this actually matters. Yeah. There's a mirror. Let's check out how much I get from the mirror. Okay. There we go. Where's the next thing spawning? We don't know. Okay. Anything else? Yeah, chat, What's the best Ranger PvE build at the moment? Boah, that's a tough question. I think it depends. Like, if you want to play DPS, I think, like, probably Untamed is the best DPS build right now in most situations, but it like, all of them are pretty close. And if you're looking for a healer, it's definitely Druid. That's, yeah, those would be my two answers. But best is very dependent on what you define as best. So for example, if you're looking for a solo build, that might change completely. If you're looking for an open world event, then you might want to have something that does a lot of like AoE damage and stuff like that. I don't know. You have to be like a bit more precise, because best is always like very dependent on the situation, I would say. Very, very dependent. Do you have community chests as a ArenaNet partner, by the way? So it depends. I don't have one right now. Sometimes I get them in the future, in future events and stuff like that. But right now I only have gem codes to give away. Yeah. So I guess you can also get a lot of the stuff that you want to get with gems. But I guess, yeah, it would be nice to have more of the things that are in like community chests and stuff like that as well, to give some different rewards out as well. Yeah. Yeah, you can also play Celestial Druid, of course, in open world. There's a lot of things. Yeah. Yeah, so if you want to participate on the giveaway, it's sadly only on Twitch right now, because there are a lot of people watching because of the Twitch drops right now on Twitch. But we will do YouTube giveaways very soon as well, just not today. So don't stress too much. And I have so much more like things to give away. Don't worry. I think it's a nice thing to have with the hype of the new content patch, but there will be more things to have a reason to give away some gems and some other gold and even legendaries. I have some legendary giveaway planned for YouTube as well. So coming up in the next few weeks, I guess. Yeah. Can you show character stats for 1 second so I can check up if I'm on a good way or not? Yeah, but give me a second when I'm demounting, and then I can do that. So if you're playing the power version, those are the stats. And if you just want to have 75% crit rate, that's the important part, and as much power and ferocity as possible on a Reaper if you're playing power. And yeah, that's pretty much it. That's the whole thing. I have a guide on my YouTube channel. You can always type !builds and you will find the links to those. But in general, this is the stats. Hope you saw it. If not, just ask again. What gloves do you have? Gloves do I have? This is the Pyre gloves, like dyed green. Yeah. So nothing too special here. Really, there's a lot of stuff to press F on. Nice. Beetle research completed. Very good. Yeah, it's actually, I really enjoy getting like some just exploring the map, having some events to do that I never did before. I think that was really missing in the last patch. I'm happy that we have that now. Just have some interesting things to explore here. Well, I don't know why everyone is following the commander here, and we do some random stuff, but I guess we take that. Yeah. Yeah, I think the cool part about like, I'm not into fashion, but we have now this current fashion tab, and like this, I have one fashion, I will always like have it like that, and I really like the pyre cloths, because the pyre cloths have this cool look. It's not too flashy, but it's a little bit flashy. And the cool part about why I like them so much is you can dye them green, then they are like fitting to a necromancer. You can dye them in yellow, and you can then it fits, for example, to warrior. You can dye them like in pink, then they fit to a Mesmer. I think it's really flexible when to use them. That's why I like them so much. But this is just like, I'm not really a fashion guy, as you might imagine. I'm just using the same set all over for every character almost. So yeah, that's my my experience with Fashion Wars. Yeah. No, not really. Not really, Northgrim. We're doing another giveaway soon, so I guess you missed that one, but you didn't win either way, so welcome back, welcome back. So what are we doing here? I don't know. I think they are a bit like, they want to force, like people that are AFK on the new map, they want to force you to engage with the content so that you actually don't take away spots, because especially with the meta event and stuff, they don't want you to stay there and just wait until the meta event is done and get participation. That's why I think they are a bit more restrictive with like the kicking of people that are AFK or not moving, at least. I think that is okay. Yeah, you definitely notice the nerfs. Or the changes. Not necessarily nerfs, but the changes to the boxes. Yeah, the pyre cloths are coming every now and then. So it's not always in the gem store. Sometimes they are there, sometimes they are not. But yeah, you just have to be patient. Or I think they might also be in the guaranteed wardrobe unlocker, but this is obviously something that is a very RNG heavy, or at least not as easy to get as if you would go for something that is purchasable from the gem store directly. AFKing on the new map is way worse than in World vs. World. It's insane in my opinion. I think I can understand that you are a bit like upset about it, but in the other side of the coin is like, if you are on the new map, you probably also should do some content, you know, should play. I think it's like, if you like disconnect because you're in a city and you're standing still for 10 minutes, I think that's not good. But in an actual content map, I think it's okay. Like I would say 5 minutes is a bit extreme, I agree with that, but I think it's better than having a lot of leeches on a map. Like, I really dislike having people that leech. You know, that is, for me, very unhealthy, and I think that's what they want to address with this design decision. So what do we need? We need, I guess we need to do some daily hearts as well at some point. I can't select an outfit for my character? Really? That's not good. That's not good. I mean, I think there might still be some things that are a bit annoying, but you can now go and get the fashion. So this is the current fashion, and then you have to use the fashion template to actually get some stuff set up for the outfits and stuff. Yeah. I guess the new system is not perfect yet. Yeah. I am, like I said, I'm not too much into fashion, so I cannot give you my analysis of the situation yet. But I guess they have to fix some bugs as usual with new releases. Yeah. Question on DPS benchmarks. How do you measure them? If I go to the training area and never achieve the DPS benchmarks you mentioned in your videos, what do I do wrong? So there are 3 things to consider, or 4 things. So first of all, you need to have the perfect gear with infusions and everything set up. Second of all, you need to get the golem set up with conditions. So in like vulnerability and stuff. You need to get all the boons set up on yourself, so having all the boons like quickness, might, fury, alacrity, those are the important ones. And then you also need, and that's the important part here that a lot of people underestimate, is even with perfect setup and perfect gear, the rotation matters a lot, like a lot. If you don't have rotation that is like, if your rotation is not perfectly executed, you might, even with the perfect gear and stuff like that, get only to 75% of the benchmark. It really is that important. Like, the rotation in Guild Wars 2 matters a lot. So even if you think you're doing everything correctly, you might still have some issues with the rotation that you might not be aware of, and that leads to like 10% DPS loss or even more. It really is extremely important and can completely be like hidden and obscure for you. So keep that in mind. Yeah, 50 minutes would be probably more reasonable. I agree. I don't know if this has been answered. How's solo world versus world roaming after the update? Is it still worth doing, or just join the blob? I would say it's more worthwhile to actually get the stuff from Zerging. Zerging just gives you more rewards. Yeah, it's just how it is. Zerging is more rewarding, but I think it's still, if you like it, it's still worth doing. You still get the passive rewards. You still get like decent experience and stuff like that. But it's definitely not as rewarding as it, like, for example, in a Zerg, or even defending just some random events like clouding. Yeah. I think this patch, like, I don't know, I have not played everything yet, but I would say this patch is like, for me, at least more content, of course, than the patch previously, which had only the fashion templates and the raid update. But I personally would say, overall, this patch is, what can I say? It's a quarterly update. It's not like big, crazy big things that you would expect from an expansion or something. Yeah. It's just, if you expected a big update like an expansion release, that's just not it. That's just unrealistic, sadly. My piano heal firebrand works pretty well in Factless. Yes, it's good. Heal firebrand is good. It's good. Always happy to answer. Sure. If I miss a question, just ask again. That happens. It happens. Yeah. I never did the conditions on the golem. Yeah, you should. It gives you at least 25% DPS increase, but even more so if you have, for example, some certain modifiers like necromancers can have condition ones, or engineers can have, or more importantly, even, how is it called? Chronomancer has like slow modifiers, so stuff like that, yeah. Yeah, the fun about world versus world roaming is the most important aspect. You don't do roaming because of the rewards. That's just not true, you know. The rewards are okay. You get the world versus world like reward track progress and stuff like that, but you don't get like crazy world versus world chests and defend events that you normally would get, which is the most important aspect. Yeah, of a lot of the world versus world, so to say, gameplay loops. For me, it's like, I like Zerging, but I know some people really dislike it, and that can be one of the main issues for sure. So any studio update coming soon? So the studio update, I made it yesterday. I made a video about the patch, and at the end of the video, I talked about the roadmap. We can talk about it in a second as well, but there is a new roadmap of the studio, and you know, if you think the patch is a nothing burger, the roadmap is even more so. You know, the roadmap is just telling us that there will be some, you know, rush events. That's it. Nothing else. There is like some festivals, and that's pretty much it. So we don't have any big content release or like drops or anything. We just have like one balance patch in July, I think, and that's it. Everything else is as we would have expected, I guess. Nothing crazy. Yeah. So the overall patch is a bit underwhelming for you? No, I think the patch is actually, I would say I give it a 6 out of 10 so far. I think the map is good. I like the achievements. I like the legendaries and stuff. I think it's not like huge, but it's new content. And I always like new content. You know, it's better than no new content, I would say. So that's my, yeah, summary for now. You know, I have to do all the parts of the story and stuff, but for now, this is what I guess I should have gone for the solo build here. No, it's fine. It's fine. The story took us nowhere. Yeah, exactly. It's not, the story is a bit like sleeper for most people. What are you running? 2 swords with a 2-handed sword? Yes, currently I'm running great sword with like 2 offhand sword, or two swords in the other weapon set. because that's a nice combination of like melee damage and range damage. But you can also go dagger main hand and sword offhand, for example, in the second weapon set. Can also be very good as well. Because keep in mind that relics and the weapons are just one part of the whole build. And I think the relics can alter the gameplay a lot. So for example, if you're in a solo scenario, I think going for Secure's relic can be extremely good as well. And having some range is really good in a solo situation as well. But if you're in a group, I think going for more aggressive options and maybe even dagger main hand because you don't need any range can be a slight DPS increase. But it's so slight that I think it's not even worth it in a lot of cases. Yeah. That's fun, yeah. That's fun that we get some new stuff on the trading post, yeah. That is. I'm really happy that we get the new mount skin for the trading post as well. I think that is awesome. There's the other thing on the other side. There we go. What if you finish the story and there's Guild Wars 3 trailer at the end? I saw other people finish the story and I can tell you there is no Guild Wars 3 trailer at the end. Would be very crazy if they did it at the, so to say, second to last penultimate episode, yeah. Keep in mind, there is still one Visions of Eternity story episode coming. So that might have the Guild Wars 3 trailer at the end. I don't see it, but maybe. Who knows? You know, maybe it's as hype as the end of Living World Season 1, where you, or Season, I think it was Season 2 actually, sorry, Season 2, when you get the Heart of Thorns trailer at the end. That was hype. Maybe it's hype as that one. That would be awesome. I would like that a lot. But who knows? You know, it's still like 111 days off. At least, you know, they might have some postponing going on as well. Yeah, there is one mount skin, not multiple. One mount skin is on the trading post right now. So this one mount skin that you can drop from this map here, which is called like Swiftwing, there it is. The Swiftwing Raptor skin you can now purchase from the trading post. It's a rare drop from this map, or you just get it from the trading post. Yeah. No, there's another one coming up in August, late August, early September. Another patch here. Yeah, you should definitely not sell the infusions to vendors. That is a bit painful. That is painful. Yeah. Hydrating. Good point. Good point. So, what do we do now? I guess it's time for a story step at some point. Did I finish all of the hearts? Because they are obviously, again, like daily repeatable. No, I did not finish this one. Let's do that one. I would say this map is actually quite fun. I would say if you enjoy Guild Wars 2, I would say this map is worth coming back for at least a week or so to just have the meta event, maybe get the new legendary or something like that. But I can understand that not everybody likes this gameplay loop. So, yeah, understandable. Where's the? There it is. If you don't want to come back right now, I think this patch is not as huge as you want. Like, if you really want to play for a year, this is definitely not the patch. But I think it's, like I said, new map with content, new meta event and stuff. I think it's pretty solid. It's pretty solid. Yeah. So let's get to the commander. And I personally, I think for me, I really noticed it yesterday when I started playing the map for the first time. I really was missing this exploration stuff that we didn't have in the last 6 months. You know, like having no exploration at all is really a little bit of a sad thing, because like exploration is just one of the biggest strengths. You know, playing some meta event, open world stuff in Guild Wars 2. You know, even I that plays mostly instance content and PvP, I still enjoy doing the open world stuff. So I'm happy that we got now finally a new map with new meta event that's actually pretty solid. Stuff like that. Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. I think the exploration part is really like the thing that stands out here. And I think, like I said, this patch might be for me like a 6 out of 10. But it's mostly because the story that I have seen so far from others is not like, it's really like annoying more than anything. But the open world map and the meta event is actually pretty much what I want from an open world map. I want a fast-paced meta event. I want some nice looking environments and some legendaries to acquire. I think that's exactly what I want. So personally, for me, this is a really like solid patch. Just looking at that. Yeah. You think this gives the expansion enough content to finally buy it, or should I wait for a bit longer for the full release with the Q3 update? I would say the expansion is for, especially if you look at, like, for example, that you get new elite specs. I think it already was worth buying before this patch. Now with this patch, it has actually pretty solid content already. I think it's like already better than Chanter Wilds in terms of content from the raw maps. I think the maps in Chanter Wilds were pretty bad, except the first one. So I think that is already, I'm pretty happy with that. But I would say, even like if you're not convinced yet, I think the last patch is insanely big. You will get a new map, you get the story concluding, you get a new legendary weapon, and the most important part here is you get a new fractal, you get a new raid encounter, and we get a new convergence. So it doesn't matter what kind of player you are, the last piece of content that will release will have something for you. So I personally would say it is worth purchasing right now, but you can still wait for the last one to see how it turns out. But I would be very surprised if the last one is the worst. I think the last one tends to be, for now, with the looks of that, the best one, because it has so much like pieces in there. Like even if the map is rather small, there is so much other things to do. For me as a multi PvX player, so to say, I would be very surprised. Yeah. I love Condy Window and PvE, but I'm too scared of the low HP pool. What do you think of that? You can also go Trailblazer if you really wanted to, because you can play like full condition setup. That can be fine if you don't go into raids and then you have a higher HP pool. But I think you are like scared too much. I think it's completely fine. Don't stress too much. I think it's pretty easy to survive at it, because it has a lot of active defenses like blocks and teleports and stuff like that. Can help. Yes, we are currently doing a giveaway. Yes, Daddy, we're doing that. You can enter by !ticket or enter in the Twitch chat. You have to be a Twitch follower to win. Subscribers get 5 times the luck. 400 gems are currently on the lane. Welcome, Jackie. Welcome. I'm for sure gonna grab it. Only reasons for asking is I'm somewhat of a new player, so I'm finishing Soto now, and I'm thinking of skipping Chantia and going for Visions of Eternity first. Yeah, I think Visions of Eternity, in my opinion, is like a better expansion already. I think Visions of Eternity has elite spec, has a better like story pacing and stuff like that, whereas Chanter Wilds is like, the first map is beautiful, but the rest is, yeah, thanks Raybart, thanks for the applause. I think personally for me, it's like, maybe I'm just vibing more with it, you know? Maybe I'm just like, it's more of my environment, more of my type of gameplay, but I think Chanter Wilds might be the worst expansion to purchase for a new player, because you only get the spear, and the spear is not something that you need to have. Everything else, maybe the Warclaw, maybe homesteading and stuff, but it's not, gameplay wise, I think it's not as important. Yeah. Maybe I'm a bit harsh here, but oh, what is that? Is lagging? Okay. That's trolling. Stop it. What is that? Yeah, this one is bugged, I think. I cannot hit this. Yeah, either way. Chanter Wilds really fell off after the first chapter, exactly. I think the first part is really good, and then the last 3 patches is like the raid encounter. That's pretty much it. Everything else is not as good. And I think Visions of Eternity does a better job now. Yeah, it's, for me at least, it does a better job. Yeah, exactly. The only reason I want Chanter is for the spear, so that's why it's an easy pass for now. Exactly. I think it's like the content for Chanter Wilds is the worst of the mini expansions, and the spear does not justify a purchase in a lot of cases. I think it's better to have something that is, you know, having good content and some decent like things that you can, for example, features. That's how it's called. For example, Chanter Wilds already has elite specs, which is way more impactful than spear for me personally. And I think for most players, it's the same. So it's just like easy, like Chanter Wilds, not as good as Visions of Eternity. Yeah, I think homesteading is good for people that like it, and it's a nice quality of life, but it's not something that the majority of the player base thinks is worth purchasing the whole expansion for. You know, a lot of people lived without homesteading for over a decade in Guild Wars 2, but having new elite specs, having new content, other than features that are locked to a certain player base and like some kind of like more design-oriented gameplay is, I think, somewhat more broader applicable, let's say it like that. Yeah, I think the first map in Chantervalds is really good. I agree, but I think Soto overall has a better feature to content ratio. You know, the features in Soto are insanely good, and I think the maps are actually also not as bad as people think. I think the story, I might agree, the story falls off at the end as well, but I'm not a story like crazy enjoyer, so I don't really care too much about it. If the story is bad, I'm more of like feature and content guy, and I think Chantervalds, the last 2 maps are just pretty bad, like pretty bad. I really dislike Bava Nissos, and I really dislike, or not really dislike, but I somewhat dislike Mistborn Barons. I think that is just not, it's just not living up to the exploration and meta event focus that we have, for example, on this map. I think this map is pretty good. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it's just personal opinion. I think you're free to share yours. I'm not saying yours is wrong at all. I think it's just opinion, you know. Everyone has a little bit of a different opinion, and it's completely fine to disagree. Yeah, it's after all opinion. I'm just saying, like, feature-wise, Soto is insanely big. Like, you get the legendary open world armor, you get like new weapons to unlock for your class, you get all the expanded weapon proficiency, so you can use all your weapons on all elite specs from the certain class, stuff like that. There is a lot of stuff that is actually going for Soto. Oh, still not done with the quest. Okay. Let's see. I did not spend time in the last 2 Chantervalds maps outside of what was necessary. Exactly. I did it like for the legendary Aurex, and that's it. Like nothing else. You know, Aurex, and as soon as I was done with it, I did not go back ever. It really is so crazy to me that the longevity of those maps is really bad. I think the content itself is not really good. I'm just happy that Visions of Eternity now has a bit more exciting content, a bit more, I don't know, it seems to have more longevity already with like how infusions drop here and you get some mount skin here as well, for example. I think for me personally, it has more longevity, yeah. Chantervalds stopped the ball by not creating a Beast Hunter mastery. Would have been a great way to populate Tyria with mini bosses. Oh, I would love that. You know, I think in almost every other MMO that I played, there is some kind of hunting log or some kind of like beast cherry or something like that. And I think that is so cool. I think that's missing so much in Guild Wars 2. Like, that, for example, having some kind of like codex where did you kill this enemy before in like champion level or something like that, and giving rewards for doing something like that. That would have been so cool. Like, such a cool mastery. I really like the idea of that. They missed out on that completely. Yeah, even though it would have been a perfect fit for the expansion theme. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, it's a bit sad that the Visions of Eternity metas don't give any, like, amalgamated gemstones, and it's just the infusion, and other than that, you just get rare unidentified gear, and that's pretty much it. I think it would be better to have more, like, longevity just for random drops as well, or like guaranteed drops rather. But there we go. Nice, we did it. We are almost done with Path of the Divine as well. That's good. Some more achievements to do. Almost halfway through. That's good, that's good, that's good. But yeah, I agree. I think Chantervalds could have been better with like better masteries. But I think that's one of the main criticisms I have in general, is that like almost every mastery, starting with pretty much like Iceblood Saga, maybe with some exceptions, but starting with Iceblood Saga, especially Chantervalds and Secrets of the Obscure, they don't have good masteries anymore. The masteries are just something that you grind, and it does not really have anything that is like worth to get. It's just something that you get once, and it doesn't really change the gameplay loop. Like, I don't want to say that gliding is a must, you know, to always have every expansion something that is as good as the masteries from Heart of Thorns. But, you know, at least a little bit better than just you get a bit more loot from a chest. What? That's so boring. That's just very, very boring. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Soto has they have the mount masteries, I know, but it's not like the mount masteries is more like you unlock the mount fully. I feel like it's a rather artificial mastery. It's not something that changes the whole gameplay loop. It's just the mount gets a little bit better. I don't know. I think they're not bad. I think they're definitely the best of the masteries, but it's far from being good, personally. Yeah, Path of Fire masteries was really good. Living World Season 4 masteries, yeah. Those were, like, I think the best ones because they had the mount masteries where you actually unlock all the mounts. And I think Gliding is probably the best mastery overall. It's so good. Like, in general, Heart of Thorns had the most, like, I would say, how can I say, like, unique, and obviously it was the first time, so they had, like, infinite amount of ideas, but I think it was also the best mastery expansion. Yeah, the map-specific masteries are already quite silly to start with, but I think even if they are map masteries, for example, in Heart of Thorns, you have Exalted Lore, Itzel Lore, Nuhak Lore. Those are like mostly map-specific, yeah? But there, at least they change the gameplay loop a little bit. You know, this one here, Wild Custodian Magic, is just like essentially you get more loot. Like, what is this mastery? Like, you get more loot for spending some time on the map. That's not exciting at all. It's like, okay, thanks for having, like, let me grind to get more loot when I grind. It's like some kind of like loot shooter mentality, which is, I think, not a bad thing, but it's not really living up to a gliding mastery at all. Yeah. But maybe I'm just a bit too harsh here, but I think it could have been quite a bit better, I would say. Okay, let's do a tour here and get some. Where's the waypoint? Oh, it's contested. Okay. Yeah, I think the Skimmer Mastery is also pretty solid. That's a good point. That is a good point. Fair point, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, they could add the mirrors everywhere interior, but I think that is pretty unlikely. I would be very surprised if they would add the mirrors everywhere, because it's really like the mirrors is something that is like bound to this Visions of Eternity, and it's the main gold source, you know. it's really by design one of the main gold sources that we have. There we go. Is Power Conduit good for PvE solo? Yes, I have a solo Power Conduit build, and it's still very good. Yes, I can recommend it. Yes. Yeah, exactly, the bestiary, exactly. It doesn't matter which kind of, like, game you're talking about. A lot of games have the bestiary, and I think it's awesome. Like, there are different ways to handle it, but Guild Wars 2 is really missing that, and I think they will never introduce it, but Chantal Wilds would have been the perfect, like, absolutely perfect way to do it. 100%, yeah. The main thing I like about this update is the new relic that gives lifesteal for Connie builds. That will be great for you. Yeah, it's really good for PvE. I think it's in competitive modes, it's not as good, but where is it here? The Relic of the Cruel Overseer. Yeah, that one is really, like, solid. Absolutely solid. I think it's a bit on the lower end from the numbers, but it's so good from nonetheless that I definitely would say, like, the relics overall, like, I also think, like, Relic of the Watch is good. I think Relic of the Sacred Ground is good. I have a full video reviewing them if you want to see my detailed thoughts on that. But I think overall this relic pack is really, like, pretty solid. Yeah, it's really, there are, like, at least 4 relics that I would see to have some nice use cases. Yeah, I'm not saying that all of them are, like, awesome, but most of them are pretty. They have some pretty nice, like, pretty nice use cases, especially in PvE. Especially in PvE, I see, like, 2 of them being almost some kind of meta relics, I would say, to a certain extent. Yeah. I don't know, maybe allows running a certain one healer comes with the increased sustain. That would be awesome. If that would be like so to say the takeaway, that you oftentimes just run maybe even 0 healers in certain content because the DPS, the Condi DPS just play this relic. I think that would be really cool. But on the other end, I feel like a lot of times having a defensive relic is oftentimes not necessary. It's like, maybe we will do some quick play at some point, and you will see that I can run full DPS, for example, and you don't even care if you have a defensive relic or a healer or something, because you just do so much damage that it's oftentimes not necessary. You can dodge a lot of attacks, and the damage is pretty neglectable oftentimes. Yeah. Yeah. Is Relic of Galtra any good? Yeah. So let's take a look at it. Let's what is a good build that shows this? I guess we can go to the Evoker. Let's show this. On Evoker, we now run the Condi Evoker setup. And you have now Condi damage, and your burning duration is 100%. Yeah? Okay, so this is a Condi build. Essentially full Condi build. And I'm not having like any, how's it called? Might or like buffs other than that. It just have my gear. And now if I look at the Galdra relic, where is it? Here, Relic of Galtra, does essentially 25k DPS, or 25k damage, with 1 elite skill use. So this relic is, in my opinion, a relic that is very good on certain builds. It's not good on every condition build in PvE, but on certain builds, this is insanely good. No spoilers, of course, Vishnu. No spoilers. I actually did not do the story yet, so I would not be able to spoil you in the first place. Yeah. So this is a really good relic for Condi builds that can spam their elite skill very often. So for example, if you use Cliff of Elementals and then you spam your flip over skill, you can always proc that, so to say, every second time you use the flip over skill and get done this proc. Keep in mind, if I now go and get my might set up, for example, let's go in the Lion's Arch Airdrome and check that one out, and you will see how much damage this actually can do. I think this might be a meta relic for Condi builds that consistently use the elite skill. Yeah. Welcome, Vivi, welcome. I'm relatively new player since I started to play Guild Wars 2 like 3 or 4 months ago. I would like to thank you for the content you're providing. It's life-saving. Good job. Thanks. Glad to hear that. More to come. And hope you're enjoying the game still. Very good. Exactly. It's like, I think it's overall, it's less generally useful, this relic, than, for example, Relic of the Fractal. But builds that use the elite skill very often, I think they can actually deal more damage with this relic. So let's adjust it and get all the boons. And now you can see if I use this, I get like over 30k damage, which is essentially a really big like damage output. And keep in mind, this is 1200 range and 5 targets. So it's an AoE attack essentially in the whole arena. Really, really strong. And I think it might even have the classic projectile problem. So for example, if I spawn a golem now, and this is the golem, yeah? And if I now stand in the hitbox of the golem using my elite skill, and there are other enemies within the range of the relic, I'm not like 100%, I have to test that, but if that's the case, then you essentially spawn 5 projectiles and it hits the golem with all 5 of them. That would be awesome if that's the case, but this is pretty, I think the relic might be actually a good pickup for a lot of classes nowadays, yeah. Yes, you can use Greatsword instead of Sword on the power combat, but Sword is way higher damage. Keep that in mind. If you're just spamming Sword attacks, yeah. Yes, you can test the multi-hit in PvP lobby on the golem there, I guess. Yeah, that is true. I think that should... I would be very surprised if it doesn't work like that. Because that's just the classic of how Guild Wars projectiles function. You know, it's they target something, and because you're standing in the golem arena, it should be able to hit. It's not closer anyway. Where is the relic? Let's equip it. How is it called? Galdra? Yeah, there it is. I mean, it does way less damage in PvP, obviously. I'm not like delusional here, but now let's go in there and let's stand in the hitbox while using my elite skill, and then... Okay, I mean, it's hard to tell, but I guess they all got hit. I guess it's hard to tell with the big golems and the small golems. Maybe I have to stand a bit behind so that it definitely hits here. Maybe here, but it looked like it just almost instantly got all of them attacked by this. Launcher projectile. It doesn't say if it's piercing or anything. Hard to say. Hard to tell. Yeah, it works with the mortar kit on engineer. Yes, it does. It does. Yeah, probably no multi-hit. Yeah, but I was wondering if maybe it just ignores targets that were already hit. That would be an interesting functionality. Really would like to see that, yeah. Yeah, it's definitely good on a Condi Firebrand. Stuff like that has like Chaunt on Mirage, something that uses a lot of elite skills that have a lot of short cooldowns, or maybe not even any cooldown on like Mortar Kit on Engineer. Okay, so let's test it again. I'm standing now here, and it should probably target like those, like on top of that. So maybe this one gets hit twice because there's another one here. Maybe. No, I don't think so. I think it hit 5 targets. It doesn't depend necessarily which, like, I think it's just hitting 5 targets around you. And I think it's just saying it's a projectile so that you can actually negate it with a projectile reflect. I think it's so fast, the projectile that it flies, I think it's more like an instant. It's really hard to dodge this one. I will cast the lit skill here now and you will see how fast the golems get hit. It's crazy. We already have I already have a Wizard's Vault tier list and it didn't change. You can check that out in my website. You'll find all the tier lists and stuff. !website in the chat. And nothing changed. There are some new skins in there, but the overall like gold rewards and gold values, nothing changed. So it's still up to date, the tier list, yeah. Okay, let's try it again. Let's check it out. But okay, it was out of range. Okay. What? When you use an elite skill, launch projectiles that inflict burning on nearby foes. Huh? How did I go? How was I out of range? That's insane. You know, it's 1200 range, but the attack was apparently you have to be, I guess, hitting with it. I don't know. It's a weird relic actually because it doesn't. You know, when you use an elite skill, launch projectiles inflict burning to nearby foes. Weird. Yeah. Maybe it's combat only, but I'm in combat actually. I don't know. Weird. What should I do with the chromatic sap? I have like 5,000 of them. I would keep them for the legendaries, or I'm not sure. You cannot really convert them, as far as I know. Yeah, maybe it's an error in the description as well. Yeah, could be an error. Maybe it's 1,200 range. Seems crazy. Yeah, look how fast the projectiles flew, and it actually hit this one. You know, even though it's directly behind the other one. So I think it's just like it hits 5 targets. That's it. It hits 5 targets. It does not hit the same target twice. Yeah, definitely a fast and hard to dodge attack. For sure. Yeah, for sure. Any tips on Chronomancer? Just started playing Power Chronomancer in open world. I think Power Chronomancer is one of the things where I would say... they are this sort. Power Chronomancer is one of the things I would say that is like practice makes perfect. It goes for almost everything, but for Chronomancer specifically, you really have to understand when to use your F5 skill, which is the main important part here. I would personally say train the golem rotation as good as you can, and then in real fights just try to be a bit like mindful of when to use your F5. Other than that, it's just practice. I really cannot give you a specific tip. Just try to train the rotation on the golem very well, and then you will just have to play more. That's the main part. Yeah, but you have to play a lot to get really good at Chronomancer. It's not a class that is easy to get into on the first try. It takes a while. It does work with the Mantra of Liberation on Firebrand. Yes, it does. It does. Do you think the Staff Mirage is still good for group and solo PvE? Yes, it is. It is, definitely. I'm thinking of trying it, but I'm not sure if I should invest my time or not. Yeah, I think it's a really good one. I think it's very underrated how good it is. It's obviously not something that has crazy burst damage, but in a lot of cases you don't need that anyway. You will be fine in like raids and even in tier 4 fractals for the most part. Yeah, I would say it's good. It's good. And the low intensity one is definitely also like pretty, like the low intensity one is not worse. It's almost the same level as if you went for the, so to say, high intensity, because Staff Mirage is not very, I think it's just a good pickup all around. Yeah, even the low intensity one. Definitely. Some artifacts, I guess. Always happy to help. Don't worry, Jackie. As usual, if anybody else has any questions, just ask. Always happy to help. cannot promise you to have the answer, but I will try. 86% of the map completed. Okay. I think we need the map completion for Stellar Radiance, but I have to be honest, I'm no rush to get 50k research notes. So I will get it at some point. Same with the World vs. World accessory, but doesn't have to be on the first day. Use your skimmer's ether location skill to track down the seer artifacts. Yeah, I'm having it on. Where are the seer artifacts? Just get the treasure chests. Interesting. Either way, I think the map is pretty nice. I have not explored every single piece of it yet, but I'm pretty, like, I think we don't get it in time. Oh no. But I'm pretty positive about the map. I know some people don't like the meta event, but I'm actually pretty positive. Do you think Visions of Eternity meta rewards are bad? Yeah, I think the rewards are... I'm a bit torn, you know? I think the rewards for the Visions of Eternity maps are good in the case that you have luck and get an infusion. I think it's nice to have infusions for every single meta event. Or like high expensive item. For this one here, it's the mount and the infusion. For the other one, it's the infusion that you can get. I think it's all across the board. They have some longevity because you can get the infusions there. I think that is good. The thing that is not good personally for me is that it doesn't really have any small gold, you know? The small gold gain that you get from normal expansions, like maps and stuff like that, typically it's, for example, you get like one amalgamated lone So it's like 1 to 2 gold or something like that, depending on the prices, yeah? But in this expansion, there is like almost like just a couple of unidentified gear and that's it. So I think it would be nice to have some consistent gold influx other than like the maybe crazy lucky drop. It personally, yeah. But other than that, I think the events and the balancing of the rewards with the mirrors is actually, I think, quite decent. Is there another one? One more. Okay. Yeah. No wonder they killed the Ascended drops being usable for research nodes or salvaging after stat change. Exactly. It's definitely the reason why they changed it. I would be very surprised if that wasn't the reason. Yep. I have to be honest, I don't understand why they did that, because I think it gave value to Ascended gear for veterans, and now it's more like, yeah, doesn't really give value anymore for a lot of times. So I don't know. I'm a bit like, I can understand that research nodes are supposed to be something that is like draining the economy of materials, but I think the Ascended gear is now completely useless. I have a character with almost 500 inventory slots, only full of Ascended weapons. So what do I do with that, you know? I don't know. I think that is, for me, a bit of a bummer, yeah, I would say. There we go, we did it. Is Reaver the hardest class in the game? No, I don't think so. I think the hardest class in the game is depending on your own playstyle and the content that you're doing with it. I would say one of the hardest classes to play is typically Mirage. Personally, yeah. Spend 500 gold in Ascended salvaging kits to salvage them all and lose 500 gold. The better not, yeah. I think that is... The problem with that is that Ascended salvaging is essentially for rings it's worth it. For the rest it's only worth it if you need the, how's it called, globs of dark matter or something like that. So it's like essentially not really valuable to salvage Ascended gear, sadly. I don't know, Ascended gear is for me in a weird spot. As soon as you have legendary gear, Ascended gear becomes pretty much useless. You can use it in a certain situation when you, for example, use it as like if you're running dungeons or fractals in a speedrun way, yeah, and you want to have, for example, right now I'm having a greatsword with force and accurate sigil, but in a fractal, for example, it would be better to have, instead of force, for example, serpent slaying sigil, which gives me the option to deal essentially 10% more damage versus great. So it's 5% damage increase. The problem is this is pretty annoying to do with the Legendary Armory and templates, because that means that in the end you have to always, before a boss, have to type it, yeah, which is pretty annoying to do. So in a lot of cases, people that do that very tryhardly have in their inventory just one bag or something with like greatswords and swords, which have all different sigils, ascended weapons that have the right stats but have a different sigil on there. So that can be really good, and it's the only use case and the only reason why I keep ascended weapons around. Otherwise, I would just sell them to the trader for 1 gold. I'm not joking, because that's one of the best ways to get rid of them. But it's I think ascended weapons and armor should have a use case for veterans as well. You know, you should be happy if you get a random drop that gives you ascended, because it might just give you a bit more gold. Right now, it feels like a lot of times it's just nothing. You know, and that's a bit sad. That's a bit sad in my opinion. So, what do we still need? We need one more Vista, and yeah. Yes, I went for the low intensity version on the Mirage build with Ritualist gear, because I fear that people that play low intensity builds, I would say, don't value the small DPS increase as much as if you get a bit more boon uptime and a bit more tankiness. You know, it's really like the difference in DPS for Ritualist and Viper is pretty low. So I would say if you really want to get the most amount of damage, go for Viper. But in a lot of cases, having better boon uptime, your group will thank you for it. And having a little bit more tankiness is also, I would say, more helpful than it hurts most players. Yeah. Do you know a fast and efficient way to get research notes? Yes, I have a video about that on my YouTube channel. I made like a 10-minute video to showcase the most effective methods in terms of gold. So slow but good gold gain. A good method to get it very fast but costs the most amount of gold. And my recommended method. So you can check that one out if you're into that and want to get the most amount of that. But I will not go too detailed here, because I can never get it as concise and well explained as in the video. Hope that makes sense. Welcome, Rubel. Welcome, welcome. Just got the DLC VOE Pro. What do you recommend between Paragon and Luminary? I usually play DPS. I think power DPS, it's definitely the way to go, is like Luminary for sure. But I think Paragon is easier to get into. So maybe try both of them. But I think Paragon shines, both of them shine in support. And you can play very good power DPS Luminary. You can play a very nice hybrid and very easy to play Paragon as a DPS. I think you should be like trying both of them. I think that's the only way, you know, that's the only way to make sure that you actually get the thing that you enjoy. Yeah. And just as a quick reminder here, if you want to support the channel, everyone here in chat, you can always use my referral links for purchasing any Guild Wars 2 expansion. For no extra cost for you, you get to support me. Hopefully that is an incentive enough. Either way, let's answer another question. There is no, I think it's not blood inscription that I meant. Sorry if you misunderstood that in the Chronomancer guide. What I meant is obviously blurred inscription, I think. That's the trait in what's it called? Inspiration. That makes your signets stronger. That's the trait that I was probably meaning. Yeah. Isn't power DPS better than Condi in open world? Yes. I think Condi is oftentimes not very helpful, because Condi takes some time to ramp up, and power builds, as you can see here, I'm playing a power build right now, and I'm just like having way more DPS than most other players here, because I just deal the damage very fast. You know, it's like very front-loaded. Yes, it might fall off in like 10-minute fights, but there is almost no 10-minute fight in open world. That's why I would recommend, if you have the choice, go for power. Yeah. Welcome, Kai Picture. Welcome, welcome. Good reminder, there is a giveaway for 400 gems going on. If you want to enter, !ticket, or enter in the Twitch chat, you have to be a follower to win. Subscribers get 5 times the luck. Sponsored by ArenaNet. Yeah. Is there anything that we can do to handle the amalgams in PvP currently? No. You can amalgam, like side note amalgam with the short bow. I am really sad to tell you that, but if you play ranked PvP and you encounter multiple of them or just one of them and you fight consistently against them, the only thing you can do is either join them or hope for a nerf. It really is such an oppressive build right now. I would not say that there is any other way to deal with it, sadly. They are just very obnoxious, very hard to deal with, sadly. It's really, I cannot give you any good answer there. I really would like to, but it's just almost impossible. If someone with the same skill level as you plays this build, you will probably just straight up lose the 1-on-1. Yeah, that's what I did. I'm not joking, Swiss Guardian. I'm not playing ranked PvP at the moment because it's just, I don't have fun, you know? I don't want to play this amalgam build. And I'm just, like, whenever I play ranked, I fight against, like, there are like 3-4 of those amalgams in my match. I just don't want to encounter this. It's just, I wait until the meta changes to play PvP again. I'm normally not someone that is more that meta dependent and I just play what I like and have fun with. But if I always fight very obnoxious builds all the time, that's just not fun to me. Yeah, it's really sad to say that, but you know, what can you do? If it says fail to enter, then you're already in. This is not related to VOE. I see more and more people skipping Astral Purifier mob spawns in LT with dodge roll. Can you please explain how they do it? So it's actually pretty simple. So imagine this is the Astral Purifier and the Lonely Tower Fractal, you know, where you have to press F and then you have to do the mini game. In the trick to do this is actually pretty simple to explain. It's not as easy to execute until it makes click and you actually did it a couple of times. So Guild Wars 2 has a really weird system of how it works. If you dodge and then press F, you know, then if you did this exact combination for the Astral Purifier, you would still get the proc of this, so to say, minigame, but you will be at the position where your dodge roll ended. So the essentially way to do it is that you stand somewhere close to it, then you dodge, use your dodge key, and while you're in mid-dodge, you press your interact key. And that lets you, so to say, do the mini game without actually having to stand directly on top of it, and that also makes the mobs not spawn. That is the way to do it. Is it a bug? Yeah, I guess. Is it a clever use of game mechanics? Maybe. Either way, this makes the first part very easy. Hope you understand that. Yeah. Hope that makes it understandable. If not, I will explain it again, but hopefully that was clear enough. Yeah. Good afternoon. Welcome, Tona. What do you guys think about main class Mesmer? Never played it. Love purple color. I think it's really good. Like Mesmer is, most people would say I'm also maining Mesmer, but I play all the classes. But I would say like Mesmer is so flexible and so unique. I would probably say it's one of the best classes to actually play, especially in PvE. But it goes actually for all game modes. Yeah, it's really, really good. Exactly. Yeah, glad I could help, Pirate. It's intention and a good mechanic, please don't fix. I don't want to say they fix it because that is unlikely that they will do that in the first place. But I would also say it doesn't look like an intended game mechanic. I would be very surprised if that is intended. But you can pretty clearly say in Guild Wars 2, if there is a new patch and there are bugs, they will fix those bugs within 2 weeks. Yeah. And if they don't fix those bugs within 2 weeks, which happens, yeah, a lot of bugs are not getting fixed within 2 weeks, then it's very unlikely that they will ever fix it. I'm not like being anything mean or anything, it's just a fact. Oftentimes they don't have the resources, they don't have the time to fix those bugs. And if you look at, for example, Whisper of Chomek, one of the raid encounters, that has like so many bugs, it's actually insane, and they never got fixed, even though this is a piece of content that a decent chunk of players actually do, not daily anymore, but like at least once per week, and they never ever fix this. Yeah, it's just like bugs in Guild Wars 2. There are some bugs, quite a lot of them as usual for big games, but they get fixed typically quite fast, I would say, especially with the new releases. But as soon as you're above those level, let's say 2 weeks thresholds, it's unlikely that they will ever fix it, sadly. Very sadly. Thoughts on Dragon Hunter? Dragon Hunter is good. Dragon Hunter is a solid defensive power DPS build that is like really good in burst DPS and really strong in fractals because of that. And in a lot of people's hands, just a very safe pick. I would recommend it. Would recommend it. Welcome, Reichon. Welcome, welcome. If some of the other fractal bugs get fixed, I don't mind losing the Lonely Tower bug. That is true. If we get the other fixes as well, that would be awesome. I think it's time. It's time for drawing the giveaway winner. Yeah, yeah. 1 more minute and then I will draw it. I couldn't find the video for the research notes. Do you mind posting the link? Yes, I give you the link. Give me a second. It's the sad part is always that I have so many videos on my YouTube channel, it's sometimes hard to find them. So you can always go to my website and look for stuff there to find it more easily. But I will give you the link to the research notes. There we go. This is I posted in the Twitch chat and it's in the, yeah, you should probably find it. Do you think it's worth crafting new accessory over Visions or Aurora? I think it's more expensive. I would probably, if you have the time going for Aurora and Vision, it's probably better to go for those. Personally, if you don't mind this different skin. My opinion here, yeah. Yeah, I got it fast because I actually knew how it's called. Yeah. Thanks, Patricia, though. Thanks for helping. Just wanted to say that your own site is a God-given. The YouTube search is really, really special sometimes. Yeah, that's why I made the website in the first place. I know I have a lot of videos and the YouTube search algorithm is really bad if you don't know how it's exactly titled, the video. So my website should help there. I know my website has a lot of flaws. It's homemade, so to say. And if I find the time, I want to improve it for sure. But there's so much on my mind right now with Guild Wars and like other content that I want to make videos about and stuff. So at some point I will do it, but right now it's pretty low on the to-do list, I would say. Okay, so it's time. It's time. I will draw the giveaway winner. And good luck to everybody. And hopefully you win. And the winner is Inappropriate. Oh, I can't pronounce your name. Innuendo? Innuendo? Whatever. Let me know if you're on Steam or not. Congrats to you. Congrats, congrats. If you're on Steam, let me know. Then you will get some gold. If not, I will send you the gems, which are a bit more value if you look at it like that one. And don't worry if you didn't win. We will do more giveaways very soon. You are on the Arena client. Perfect. Then I will send you the gem code instead. As the giveaway is supposed to be run. Congrats, congrats. This is the gem code. Have fun with your 400 gems. And I will, give me a second. Open another giveaway. We will have 400 gems again on the line. Sponsored by ArenaNet. You have to be a Twitch follower to win. Subscribers get 5 times the luck. Good luck to everybody. And exclamation mark enter in the Twitch chat or ticket. I just finished all the story, including End of Dragons, and I kind of went to jump to Visions of Eternity now. Are there any connections between Soto, Chant the Wilds, and Visions of Eternity? There are some small character connections, but I would say it's not like the story itself with the Inquest that the Visions of Eternity is mostly about has some big ties into the earlier expansions. It's like the characters, yes, but the story itself is not that important. So I would say if you like what you see right now and stuff like that, I would say it's worthwhile jumping ahead, especially if you're not like giga into story. Yeah. Yes, yes, yes. If it says failed to enter, it means that you're already in. And sorry for my YouTube viewers, don't worry, we have more giveaways for YouTube as well in the future. Maybe if I feel like it, we will do one later today as well, you know, on the stream. And I will just do a YouTube giveaway, even though there are no drops happening. They are obviously happening right now on Twitch for some skins and some minis and stuff like that. But maybe we will do one later on YouTube as well. But now let's do first this one and see what we get then. Yeah, I don't want to spoil any story here, but there are some interesting characters in this like Visions of Eternity storyline for sure. I think it's actually, for me personally, from the story, from the setting and stuff, I think it might be a bit more interesting than the Chante Wild story for sure, and maybe even more interesting than the Soto story, I would say. There we go. He's missing one more thing. One more point of interest. Now it's here. Okay. So a slight tip, if you don't know where the last point of interest is, you can always hover over the legend in the map and you will see it highlighted if you already got the map revealed, so to say, the part of the map. And that is a pretty cool feature. Pretty cool feature if you need to get the map completed. Legendary giveaway, not today, but in the future. Yeah, we will do a legendary giveaway in the future. I have some plans already preparing. Don't worry. Yeah, the first part of Soto was insanely good. Like the first story part of Soto was, in my opinion, probably one of the best stories ever. The first story instance of Soto for me, with like running away from Saras, that is awesome. That is just insanely good. But then it dropped off pretty drastically, sadly. And I think Visions of Eternity is also the story pretty solid, at least from like the characters and the fan aspect. There's always some choking going on. I like that, you know. For me, story needs to be entertaining, and I think like Guild Wars 2 story, especially the latest few patches, actually are getting back to this level. Yeah. I agree. I think Saros, sorry for people that have not played Soto, but it's been out for years now, so I guess it's fine to talk about it. I agree. Epoch was a very boring end boss and really weird storytelling. I think Saros would have been such a good end boss for Soto. Like, so much better. He has such a cool character telling. It has relations to Demos, you know, there is some kind of drawback for people that played the game long term. I don't know. I think it was a bit of a misstep in the wrong direction to actually go for a completely different end boss. That would have been more interesting. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, the later parts of Soto really fell off, but the beginning was insanely good. Like with the in-game scenes, with the cutscene even, it was so good. It really was. I really, like, if you looked at it, I would have said, holy moly, they leveled up their expansion level content, story and stuff, like, insanely hard. But then it fell off so hard and so many people were really sad about the ending of Soto. Like, a lot. Yeah, I think Living World Season 1 and Soto and Visions of Eternity have some similarities. That's true. I like the Visions of Eternity story. In how the storytelling is. It's a bit more fast-paced, a bit more lighthearted. But I think the thing that I don't really like compared to Soto is that the storytelling in the beginning from Soto was so like nice feeling. It was really like you are scared, you know. This is cool. I like that storytelling a lot. That's a bit missing here. Yeah. Yeah. Epoch is such a nothing burger, and oh god, that into the spider layer meta. Yeah, I think the meta event is, at least the end boss itself is pretty like. Yeah, not that crazy good. Yeah. If it says fail to enter, you're already in the giveaway. So should we do the thing here, or should we comment? Let's do first the event here, and then we will do the adventure. I have not done the adventure yet. Okay. Yeah, you have to be a follower on Twitch to win, and subscribers get 5 times the luck. Just for the information, we will draw the winner in like, I don't know, 15 to 20 minutes. Okay, so we have to jump on your skimmer and scour for seer artifacts. Okay, let's do that. And get the artifacts here. And I guess we have to dodge the traps. Oh my. Where are the artifacts? I need to get 20 of them. Oh my, that's pretty tough, I would say. I like adventures. I think that's like some kind of puzzle game to solve to get to gold. Some of them are pretty hard. Let's see how hard this one is. Time, we have like 3 minutes left. I have only 4 relics found. That's actually not that many. I think that will be hard. Okay. Guess I have to optimize the path here. Let's just do it once and see how close we get. And maybe I do it at a later time to go for gold, because they always give some achievements and mastery points, of course. How's the epic meta nowadays? I actually have not done it in a while. I did it when the map was new, like a lot, and then I pretty much stopped doing it because there was no real reason for me to ever do it again. Just because if you did the metas for the legendary armor and you're done with it, there is really like, you can get the infusions and stuff, sure, but it's not something that is like insanely like good gold per hour, and it's just very long and needs some other players as well. Okay. No rubble here. Still missing one for... I don't even get the bronze one. Oh my god. This adventure is definitely needing some optimization in the route. Epic Mecha still fails a lot, especially without PvE guilds running it. Yeah, I can imagine. No. I can imagine. Yeah, this is a sad part of when metas get, when you have to have some optimization going for a meta, then it fails technically quite often, especially if there is not a big reward there nowadays anymore for a lot of players. Then it just tends to be not worth running anymore, sadly. Yeah, I guess this much. Maybe we should just do it on stream and to see how exciting it is. There's another one. Sometimes there's nothing in there. Interesting. Okay, one more for silver. Come on, give me one more. I have to get one more somewhere. Wait, did it not work? Oh, come on. Did I... Oh my god, I left in the last second. Oh my god. Chante Whites for me was the most boring storytelling. Yeah, I agree. I was really like... It was so boring with the bears talking forever. Yeah, it was pretty painful. Let me out of combat, please. I guess we have to reset. Are the mirrors on the new Visions of Eternity map? Yes, they are. How do you link your ANET account to Twitch? Thanks, Ryu, for posting. It's in !drops, and then the command, then you say there is a guide how to do it. You have to have a Twitch account and your Guild Wars account, and then go to... It's very easy to do. You just have to check out the website of ArenaNet telling you how to do it. But it's really essentially like 2 clicks. Just logging in and having 2 clicks. Yeah, I also fell asleep. I did the story in Chante Wilds essentially on stream, every single piece of it. And it was the only thing that kept me alive. Like, the story was so to say, boring to follow, that in the end I just did the story on stream because I could talk to people while not listening to the bears. It was pretty painful. Maybe for story enjoyers that was a nice feeling, but for me, I was pretty sad and pretty turned down by the story. How can I say, design, or how they delivered the story? Yeah, I guess they wanted to deliver the vibes of the bears being more of codons and all, but I would rather have a skip button. Yeah. The giveaway is rolling in 10 minutes. 10 minutes we're rolling the giveaway. And then we will do a YouTube giveaway as well. Just felt like it, yes. Yeah, I have to be honest, ArenaNet tends to do some very long story instances for not really a big gain. Yeah, that the same goal is true for the new release here. There are some story instances that could have been way faster. You can definitely say that. You had your cat to wake me up? That makes sense. That's also a good thing to have. Okay, 10. So halfway through, we need 10 more to get gold. We have 2 minutes left. Come on. That is doable. That is doable. Do they respawn? Probably not. Probably you have to know where you were already. Ooh. Okay. There's another one. Very good. I think they respawn actually. No? I was here before in the beginning. Okay. 6 more. Come on. Come on. Come on. Come on. 6 more in the last 1 minute. That will be close. Very close. I mean, it's okay if I get only silver. Like, silver is good enough, I guess. Come on. There are like 2, 3 maybe. 4 more. Come on, it's doable. It's doable. Thanks a lot, Ichi3. Really appreciate the prime. Thanks a lot. You have now a higher chance of winning. There's another one. Very good. Very good. Very good. I have to concentrate. Come on. No, there's no one. No. 2 more in 20 seconds. Come on, it's doable. 1 more. No, there's none here. 10 seconds. Come on. No. Oh, that was so close. Way too close to comfort. Way too close, but we made it. Oh my god, that was way too close. Very good. Yeah, that was... And I got also the mastery achievement. Okay, not bad, not bad. Halfway through. Okay. Yeah, even the Automod hates the bears. Yeah, happens. Sorry. Is the mirror farm still good? Yes, it's still good. Don't worry. It's still good. We are giving away 400 gems sponsored by ArenaNet, as you can see on screen. Yes. Just got into Guild Wars 2 and your tier lists and build videos helped me a lot. Thank you. No problem. More to come, and it's always like my pleasure to make content for especially new players, because I think having more new players in the game makes the game not only feel like more alive, but also keeps the game alive. I think that's really good. Yeah. Yeah, I think adventures, like for me, it's weird. Adventures, if I can see it's doable, I get like really hooked. You know, if I feel like, oh my god, I just missed like 10 seconds or something like that, then I get hooked. But if I feel like I'm minutes away, or like I need double the amount of items in the same time, I feel like, okay, not my thing. Because I feel like if it's doable, if it's like close to doable, I think it's really exciting. But I think some of the adventures are really easy. You do it on the first try. And some of the adventures, you need like 50 tries, at least for me. And I think they are really difficult. Sometimes some balancing of them is a bit off. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, there are mirrors on the new map. That is true. Your videos are really useful to get a good idea about builds as a new player. Nice. Glad to hear that, Lazy Ghost. Coming from WoW, it felt hard and weird at first, but now I can't go back. Nice. At least you enjoyed again. That's good. Yeah, the Heart of Thorns adventures can sometimes be really like brutal. Your videos are also nice for veteran players. Perfect. You know, that's like, I want to have a big community of new players, veterans, and everyone in between. I think that's the best way of doing it for sure. So I think it's time. Let's see, how long is the giveaway up? I think we can draw the giveaway winner. I think you all waited long enough. I think it's time. Would it be possible to make a YouTube? What is my driver trying to tell me? Would it be possible to make a YouTube video or short, maybe of your updated ARC DPS settings? My updated ARC DPS settings. Because I have a long 30-minute guide of how I set up my ARC DPS and stuff. You can always type !ARC. I can also, it should work in the chat as well. And then you'll get a guide how to set it up. Yep, here. And we have a very nice short spreadsheet for the people that just want to install ARC. So the DPS meter here for the first time, made by Patricia. Thank you for that, Patricia. Link is here, of course, as well. Let me check. It should work. No. Okay, should not work. Okay, the spreadsheet is in the Discord server, but apparently the link doesn't work. Either way, give me a second. I can look for the link. I can look for the link. And I have the video is linked there as well, like I said, and it's pretty, like, it's a good video. It's like I put a lot of effort in there and explain very much in detail how to set it up, how to set up, for example, your different tabs to be close to each other, how you can, for example, also get like kill proof and the boon table and stuff like that. Like Arc DPS is not very straightforward for new players to get, but if you get it set up right, it's an awesome feature, I would say, just to get better at the game. Yes, thanks Northgrim for pointing it out. Arc DPS is like made for being used on PC. That's true. Yes. Okay, so I think it's time. Hopefully everybody is in the giveaway that wanted to join. Last chance, 30 more seconds. Exclamation mark enter. You have to be a Twitch follower to win. Subscribers get 5 times the luck. And yeah, I think we are drawing the winner now. And yeah, we'll do another one. Don't worry, we will do another one. Okay, waiting. I see some people joining, so I wait a bit. You know, don't want to have some people in the audience that just missed it by a second. So there's that. Don't forget, you have to be a follower to win, and subscribers get 5 times the luck. So everybody, subscribe, of course. Okay, it's time. Let's draw it. And the winner is this time Poseidon R. You won. Congrats. Let me know if you're on Steam or if you're on the normal launcher. Congrats. Of course, you have to be here in chat. If you're on Steam, then let me know. Otherwise, I will send you the gem code. Give me a sec. I think if you're on Epic, it should still work. I think the only time it doesn't work with the gem code is from Steam directly. Yeah. So I give you 1 minute, Poseidon, if you're here. Yeah, so the healing stats only, the healing add-on is something that you can add. And let me showcase this while we wait for Poseidon to answer. Then there is the healing stats add-on. Where is it? Extras? No. Extensions, boon table. Where is it? Maybe I disinstalled it. But there is the healing add-on, and if you... I think it didn't update with the last update. Yes, that's why it's not there. But the healing add-on is only for yourself and other people that also have the healing add-on. This is really important to understand. So the healing add-on is really good if everybody in the squad has the healing add-on. You can see how much your healer heals, how much you heal as a DPS and stuff like that. But if you are alone or if no one else has it, then you only see yourself. So it's not like the DPS meter where you can see, oh, I do this much damage and my other players do that much damage. That is not possible with the healing add-on. Yeah. So, Poseidon, last chance. I will re-roll the giveaway. And if you're not here, not answering, we will draw another winner. That's how it works. That's how it works. And you can still join. Yes, you can still join the giveaway. I missed the spring sale on Steam. Turns out Epic does the sale after Steam, so I got that. Nice. Very good. He's not in chat, it seems, yeah. It seems we have to reroll. I mean, I gave them a minute, so I guess we have to accept that, I guess. Welcome, Major Easy. Welcome. How are you doing today? Yeah, I think it's time we draw another winner. Good luck to everybody again. Let's see who it is. MPE. Congratulations, this time you won. And let me know if you're on Steam or on the normal launcher. Switch to Guild Wars 2 also because WoW needed too many add-ons. Yeah, Guild Wars 2 essentially needs no add-ons. I think having Arc DPS is a nice add-on to have. Personally, I think it's making you better at the game if you have it. But that is just my opinion, yeah. But you don't need to have like 10 add-ons. Guild Wars 2 is really like, you can play it vanilla and it works, yeah. Okay, so please be here. Pathing is really good. There are some add-ons that help you with Plishart, for example, but I'm not saying they are must-have. Yeah, So if you're here, please let me know. MPE. Yes, nice, you're here. Very good. Congrats to you. Let me know if you're on Steam or the normal launcher. Yeah, you are rated. Perfect. Then I will send you the gem code. Congrats for winning. Congrats, congrats. And we will open another one. That's how about. Congrats, congrats. Give me a second. And for all the people that are on YouTube and you waited for so long. Yeah, you waited for so long. Now is the time. The giveaway is open on Twitch. Again, exclamation mark enter. You have to be a Twitch follower to win. Subscribers get 5 times the luck. If you already won one giveaway today, you will have another chance. So it's just fair. Everyone has the same chances of winning. But for the people on YouTube now, because I always like say, oh, no people, we will do now a giveaway for the people on YouTube as well. I just like, that's just, I'm feeling generous today. So we do it a bit differently for YouTube because my bot doesn't work there that well. So we will now do it in a way that you have to tell me, that's the important part, how many new legendaries we got with this release. And the first one to answer this will get it. So, YouTube, you have the chance now. How many new legendaries did we get with this one? On YouTube, on YouTube. Okay. I guess we have the first one. Congrats to you. Let me know your account name. The first one to answer was, let me get your correct name here. Durin Mal. Congrats to you. You got the first answer correct. We had 2. The Twitch chat is really confusing you guys, but we got it. Congrats. And I just wanted to have people on YouTube that are not asleep also having a chance of winning. So let me know your Guild Wars 2 account name in YouTube chat and I will send you the code. I will send you the code then. That's how we do it. I just have to also... No problem, take your time. I will also have to quickly hide the stream, of course, otherwise the code will be stolen from people that are faster. And of course, for the people on Twitch, don't worry, there is currently an open, ongoing giveaway as well. No, don't worry, don't worry. Speaking of legendaries, I play Reaper and Untamed. What should I pick from set 10 and other set 1 I got from the vault? I think you should pick the one that you like the most. I will quickly check what items are in there. But I think, like, personally, I think you should get the ones that you enjoy the looks of and you use the weapons a lot. So we have Bolt is awesome for like for range. In general, Bolt is probably the best Generation 1 legendary you can get because you can use it on all classes. And from Generation 10, it's probably Bifrost, the staff. I think the staff and the sword would be my recommended picks. Yeah, that's what I would recommend. What are your top 3 legendaries? Do you mean in terms of value, or do you mean in terms of looks? Because I think that is pretty different. Like in terms of looks, that can be very, very different. Yeah, I would say in terms of looks, my favorite legendary, I don't know, really hard to say. Okay, we have the account name, very good. We'll quickly hide my screen so that you will not see the gem code. Give me a second. Congrats again. Code is sent. And we can go back into the game. There we go. I don't know. Looks is hard. Looks is hard. I made a look tier list, and then you can check this tier list out, what I mentioned there, because there are some things that are really, like, really beautiful, but I think it always depends on the character look. But in terms of usefulness, I think, like, the armor actually is pretty useful. And I think, like, Amulet is pretty good because it gives you so many stats. I don't know. It's I would say somewhat hard to find the perfect legendary because it always depends. Is your playstyle more like one class only? Is your playstyle more like you play all classes and you swap builds all the time, then it is a bit different. I don't know. Yeah, no problem. Congrats for winning. Best looking legendary is the Focus book. Yeah, I think it's, how is it called? Like Epos, something with Epos, like Chains of Epos or something like that. Yeah, that one is pretty unique for sure. Binding of Epos, that's how it's called. Yeah, I think that is unique. I think it doesn't fit to everything. For example, on Guardian, I think it doesn't fit that well. But maybe that's just me. I think legendaries are always like, in terms of looks, I think it depends heavily on what class, what build you're using them. I think I'm a bit too roleplay here because I think legendaries looks are nice and all, but I don't use always the same legendaries on every character. Even though I might like the look, maybe on one class it fits better than another. I think some of the arena skins is really are really nice as well. I really like for example, the sword, like the ice sword, Charmax sword, I think is really nice for certain classes and stuff like that. I think it depends. Yeah, it's hard to say. Favorite legendary is Eternity. Yeah, Eternity is a good one, a very classic one. And yeah, the spear is also quite good. Yeah. Back in the days, I think the trinkets added a lot of value for me. Winter berries were the only good way to get legendary stuff. So the trinkets were like still ascended stuff were really good to get to the trinkets and especially like rings and stuff, the winter berries. I think nowadays, if you don't have the Living World seasons, I think getting legendary trinkets is probably the fastest or best way to get legendaries because you can use them on all your characters. I, however, think that the armor is probably one of the best ones to get. Like, you know, I have a lot of legendaries, obviously, but I think the armor gives you a lot of freedom in what builds you play and how you can alter them and stuff. And it also is good for transmutation charges because they are free to change the skins, stuff like that. I think for me that is probably one of the best ones to get, yeah. Fashion is the end game, absolutely. Okay, we got the map completion. What do we get out of the box here? Used to create Gift of Galdra. Okay. I mean, makes sense. Makes sense. Let's clean up the inventory a bit. But nice, we have some relics. And I guess we have to do some story now. Oh my god. I really was not like looking forward to that. I'm just not a big story enjoyer. But I guess we have to do it. You know, we have to do it. You get so many like random mob kills. I think this map is actually pretty good to farm experience for the new mastery lines and stuff. I think it's pretty good. Applause, exactly. Applause. Yeah. So, I mean, the map completion was actually pretty fast. Like, it's just the hearts, and that's pretty much it. I think I like it, actually. This is a nice map. I'm always like happy if I get my maps done rather fast without any big issues. I'm pretty happy with this. We need to craft it for the Stellar Radiance. I will do it at some point. But I'm not looking forward to the 50k research notes. It will be a bit painful. But what can you do? So I guess it's story time. Where do we have to go for the first part of the story? Somewhere in the middle of nowhere. Okay. Were the hearts okay to do? Yeah, I think the hearts for me, so there are 2 hearts on this map. The first one is in the middle, and the funny part is this in the middle is essentially you're doing some events, and if you do the meta event, you also get heart progress. So it's like, okay, it doesn't really matter. You get it like very, very fast and easily, especially if you do the meta anyway. And the first one here is a bit more annoying, but it's like you do a couple of like quests and it's done as a couple of events around the quest and it's done as well, which you need anyway, for example, for the mastery progress or for example, for, what's it called? The map currency. You know, you need the map currency, of course, to get the legendary, and therefore it makes sense anyway to farm events. So I would say, for me personally, the hearts are way less annoying to get than the other ones. But I have to be honest, I have now, there is a Vision of Eternity and then Renown Hearts. You have to do it 14 times to get the title and the achievements for it. And then you still have the repeatable ones, and you can see some of the repeatable ones I still have not done the ones from the other ones completely with all achievement points because it's pretty grindy, you know. You need like essentially 9 times to complete this one to get all of the achievement points, plus the 14 times of that. So that means like almost a month of doing every day the hearts. So I think that is like pretty hefty in the grind, but yeah, I think it's fine. Yeah, see you. Do we have any news about the next expansion? Yeah, so I think that's a good point to bring up here. A good point. Give me a second. We got a blog post yesterday. Give me a second. And I want to talk about this here on stream for a second. Where is it? There it is. And with this blog post, there you can see it now as well. With this blog post, we not only got a summary of all the things that are happening, of course, but, and this is the important part, we also got at the end of this blog post, we got the road ahead. So we got a roadmap. And I made a video about it yesterday, but now we talk here on stream about it as well. This roadmap is for June, July, and August, because in May there is nothing happening anymore. I mean, May is like essentially like 3 weeks. But in June we get Dragon Bash, which is a nice festival, but pretty much one of the most boring festivals out there. Then we get the Fractal Rush and a Roller Beetle Racing Week. So June is pretty lame, I would say. Then we have July with PvP Rush, Dungeon Rush, World vs. World Rush, and World Boss Rush event. So pretty good Rush events actually, and a skills and balance update. So July is actually pretty solid, I would say. It's not giving you new content except for maybe the skills and balance update, but it's at least giving you something to do. Yeah. The thing that I am a bit concerned about is that in August, which is like 3 months away, we don't even get to know that there will be the next quarterly update or the last quarterly update for Vision of Eternity. We only get to see the Festival of the Four Winds and the 14th anniversary of Guild Wars 2. So it's essentially August is the festival, and maybe, if we are lucky, the conclusion of Visions of Eternity could also be in the beginning of September. So welcome, OKCD. Welcome. That is official news. Yes, that is official news. I can give you the link, yes. But I also posted it, I think, in the... Give me a second. I posted it under my video as well. Here's the link. Yeah, don't forget to enter the giveaway if you're on Twitch. !enter or ticket. And you have to be a Twitch follower to win. Subscribers get 5 times the luck. 400 gems sponsored by ArenaNet are on the line. Yeah. So this is, for me, the thing that is a bit like, okay, is the next quarterly update happening in end of August and they just didn't mention it here because they are not sure? Or is it happening in September, which is like pretty long away? I think the special events tab is now pointing towards the beginning of September. So that's already quite interesting. And the part that I am a bit like not worried, but I think they still haven't announced anything after Visions of Eternity. So we are like essentially like 3 months away from the end of Visions of Eternity, and we don't know what's happening after. So what is happening on, like, in the studio? What is going on there? I would really like to know. What is the idea? Do they have some expansion planned, but they are not willing to share it yet because it might be a spoiler? Do they have some other ideas for the future of the franchise? I don't know. I think they will tell us at this, like, at the end or like towards the end of the year. But I would really like to know now. Yeah, I can definitely understand that as well if people have that statement. We will have to see. This is the roadmap. Sadly, not really that exciting. Yeah, maybe they're working on bringing back the bears. Yeah, maybe. Or maybe on Guild Wars 3. Yeah, my guess is that they will announce something as soon as the last patch drops. Maybe even with a trailer at the end. You know, that some kind of like big reveal at the end of Visions of Eternity, and that's why they have not announced the next expansion. That would be my big guess. If it says failed to enter, it means that you're already in. Yeah. So that is my analysis here. So not too much more to say, to be honest. Not too much more to say about this roadmap because there is not that much on there. Yeah, it's really like this roadmap is for me nothing surprising. Yeah, we saw some rush events and there is another skills and balance update, but it's not crazy exciting. I have to be honest. It really isn't. Okay. So I guess we wanted to do some story. Let's do some story. But yeah, as usual, if you have any comments or feedback, questions, let me know. They announced Visions of Eternity in July 17th, if I'm right, so no rush. But I think Sniper, I think the important part here is that they announced Visions of Eternity, I think 1 year before the release. Yeah, so we already knew there was another expansion coming. Right now, we don't know if there will be another expansion coming. That is the somewhat concerning part. Yeah, we don't even know if there is another expansion coming. I really would like to have some, like, yeah, next year there will be an expansion or something like that. That is for me the a little bit. I'm not necessarily concerned. I think they are always working on Guild Wars 2. I think that would be is just unlikely that they will ever do something that is not focused on Guild Wars 2 in the next few weeks, months, maybe even years. But I'm a bit concerned that they haven't even confirmed that there is another expansion. That is the part that I think is like they are pretty close to the chest with the expansion. And I think that has reasons. Like, I would be very surprised if they hadn't had big reasons to do so. I saw an achievement which said their 4th zone or something. I can't remember the name of it. Yes, there will be another zone in this expansion. That is true. That will be the case. That will be the case. What do you think about raid currency? Currently, I find LFG is fairly dead if you compare to Fractals. I see people on EU Wing 1 to 4 ask for 50 to 100 KP, even more on non-CM runs. I think the raid LFG is very fluctuating. So on Monday, it's pretty active. If you are looking at, for example, how's it called? Prime time. If you're playing on prime time and you're looking at the raid LFG, I think there are at least 10 to 20 to 30 groups currently online. So that is always very active. I think it's very heavily dependent when you look. And sometimes it's like just bad luck if you're looking for a certain group. I know there are sometimes issues with like KP and stuff. I made a whole video about that, why I think KP can be very bad. But I would agree that overall the raid scene is not as big as people hoped it is. But on the other hand, I think it's also is pretty... It grew because of the last quarterly update rather. It grew in quite a drastic way because of the reward changes and the raid god changes and a lot of people going for raids, the easy ones at least. I think raids are actually quite active. You just have to be like looking and playing at the correct time, I would say. Yeah, that is my analysis there. But I don't have any numbers, sadly. I don't have any numbers like telling us, yep, that is guaranteed to be the case or not to be the case. You have to see. Okay, let's give them one heart thing. No. And there we go. And we wanted to get the story started. So. There we go. Welcome, Ichek. Welcome, welcome. Asking for KP for Iceberg Saga 5 as sometimes is there. Yeah, I think that is... You know, I think KP makes sense to a certain extent. You know, if you really want to get a fast clear of Kadim 2 or something, I can see why you want to have people that actually cleared the boss like 10 times or something like that. But asking for kill proof for such easy content like Iceberg Saga is somewhat ridiculous. Yeah, I can understand that you want to have a group that does it very fast and smooth, but I think the problem is that the KP, the kill proof for this certain group, does not really like prove anything. You know, just killing Bone Skinner 100 times doesn't make you a good DPS player. Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, it's crazy. Most people do their raids on Monday, Tuesday, or Saturday, Sunday. I think it's a lot of statics do that. I think in public groups, LFGs, it's more spread, I guess. What's your take on that we have to waste infusions for the Strive unending? I think that's a pretty like annoying thing to do. I think it would be nice to also have the infusion like after that. But the problem is, I think they wanted to have a nice way of making you use your tickets. Right now it feels like tickets are essentially a sync and that's it. But now you actually have to sync it on the infusion, which you can equip and then slowly work on it. And the sync is, so to say, feeling a little bit worse. I think the best way of doing it would be if they would give you the infusion at the end again back. Yeah, so that you at least have the infusion for your account to look at out. Yeah, to take a look at it. That would be, in my opinion, really good. I have no clue though. I really don't know. Yeah, we have, I mean, maybe they have some reasons for doing it like that. My static stopped asking for a certain amount of KP if we need someone to fill. We asked for no mechanics and that's it. Yeah, I mean, in static, I think it's somewhat a little bit different oftentimes. Because in a static, you obviously have people that you can talk to and you can just a little bit like change stuff up depending on what happens, what people join. But I think in a pack group, I think it makes sense to have at least a couple of experienced people. And if you can get that via KP, I guess that is somewhat of reasonable, but I'm never asking for KP if I do a group. I typically just get it done without KP. Yeah. Yeah, a Bone Skinner can be horrible with a Nubis squad. That is true. That is true. But I think that's why I'm typically playing heal, and then I can just carry the bad group a lot of times as well. But I totally get that argument for sure. Yeah. If you got Legendary Relic, I got all the new relics now? No. So the new relic, I can actually prove it to you. The new relics you get by having to unlock them once first, and then you have them in the Legendary Relic as well. So I'm currently having 4 of the 6 new relics unlocked. That means I'm missing 2, and those 2 I cannot equip right now. I can get them, for example, from my stacked up, stockpiled Castoran gearboxes, where you can just select the relic, and you will be fine. I can showcase this here. That's why I always do that. So, for example, which relic do I not have? I think Relic of the Watch is one of the missing ones. No, Relic of the Director, for example. Let's get this one. No, is it Doyen? But there are 2 of them that are missing. Yeah, let's get Relic of Doyen. If I get that one, then it says like unlocked here, and then I can now showcase this here with my Legendary Relic. Now only 1 is missing. Doyen is now here as well. So this is how this works. So the Legendary Relic is a bit less powerful than the runes, for example, but it's still pretty good. Yeah. Yeah, I get that. What do you do with the relics you can't sell, but you don't need? You can just salvage them. I always salvage them because they give you a little bit of like loosened modes. That's pretty much it. Like relics are essentially useless if you have the Legendary Relic. Yeah. But it's okay, you know, you don't like, I think it gives you some value back and you don't have to always use them. What KPs should I keep? What do I throw away? So I can show you, you keep essentially, if you can, all of the KP. Like I have almost a stack here of my Sloth of the Mushrooms in the bank. Yeah, just keep them and throw none of them away if you can, so that you can stockpile them forever. If you are on a budget, you should probably only keep the end bosses like Doom, Kadim and stuff like that, because that should prove enough that you know what to do. But I'm not big into KP, so I cannot tell you what is, so to say, like a must-have, because I just, you know, I played the game for so long, I have enough of anything anyway because I saved it. But that's just my experience as a veteran. The Radiant Runes are very, very expensive to craft right now. Yeah, they are. And I think they will go up in price. That's the crazy part. I think they will go up in price because there is less supply of the loosened modes and stuff like that than people demand. So it's pretty crazy how aggressively expensive the relics and runes get. I'm not saying they are bad to get. I think they're actually really good to get. I think they are really worthwhile to get because they are just a good legendary to have, especially if you try a lot of different builds all the time. But they are expensive and you might not want to go for them as a new player directly. Yeah. The new Condi heal relic is pretty good. I like it. It's obviously a bit niche. It's for solo builds and for really hard PvE Condi builds. That is okay in hard content, but I think it's not a thing that I would recommend to get for every build, for every Condi build. You don't need that much sustain oftentimes. What chest did you use for the new relics? It's from the PvP and World vs. World reward track. The end chest here, Custodian Gearbox. You get that from World vs. World and PvP just by playing them for a while. And that's pretty much it. Yeah. Yeah, maybe on Condi Firebrand. I don't know. The problem is in competitive modes, conditions are not necessarily always a really good thing. Yeah. Like conditions, like healing from conditions is something that is, you know, you have to stack them up and they can be cleansed. So power healing is just straight up often superior. So I have to be a bit like honest. I don't know if the relic with the conditions things is actually extremely good for a lot of cases, but it's a fun thing to theory craft around. Yeah. Yeah, I can feel that, Northgrim. I can feel you there, for sure. Where's the last one? Yeah. What is your favorite class to play? PvP, PvE can be different. So for PvP right now, it's Elementalist. I really like to play Elementalist in PvP, specifically Evoker. I think there are so many Evoker builds that are fun to play right now. And in PvE, I like to play Mesmer a lot right now, but it does not really, like, I switch it up almost every day, you know. When you look at the last 10 streams, I played probably like 5 different classes on stream in PvE. It's really like, I play essentially all the classes all the time, so it's really hard for me to pinpoint a single one. Yeah. Is open world Elementalist still good? Yes, it's awesome. It really is. It really is. Why are relics so expensive? Because if you look at the crafting of relics, they need a lot of ectos, they need a lot of things from like normal farming that just is expensive. So I can showcase this actually to you if you want. Yeah, I can craft relics all the time with my characters, of course. But even for me, if I craft it myself, it costs 10 gold plus. So let's look at the leatherworking station here and go for relic. Let's go for, let's say, relic of the thief. Yeah, this relic is now on the trading post, 12 gold. Yeah, and what does it need? It needs some charms. It needs some cured leather squares. So those are not like too expensive. But then you need 15 globs of ectoplasm and 48 piles of lucent crystal. So if you sum that up, even if you craft it, so to say, yourself, you still end up at a price for over 8 gold. So relics are just by the ingredients that they need quite expensive. That's the whole reason why they are so expensive. Yeah. Just completed my legendary runes, but what to do with my exotic runes? I crafted before. Essentially, the only really useful way to use them is salvaging them. I'm really sorry. There is actually like no real value for them. You can, I guess you could also like research them, you can, or salvage them. Those two options are the only ones that I would recommend. Yeah, like sad truth, sadly, but that's how legendary gear makes you a little bit, you know, legendary gear makes a lot of other gear pieces pretty useless, and you will notice that a lot. Like, yeah, just have to accept it, I guess. Yes, you need 7 million karma for the new trinket and 50k research nodes. So pretty hefty, yeah. One of my best decisions was getting the legendary relic by crafting the legendary rune. Yeah, that was like, for the players that were playing around that time, that was the smartest way of getting like any legendary. Because back then, when they announced there will be a legendary relic coming, they also said if you have any legendary rune already, as a compensation, for whatever reason, you get the legendary relic for free. I did get that as well, but a lot of players, new players, have not that luxury. So yeah, that is just the sad truth. You now have to bite the very, very expensive apple there and use a lot of lucent modes and stuff like that to craft the relic yourself. Really sad, yeah. Is Aurora the better one to go for then? Yeah, I think Aurora is easier, or like if you have some time to grind the achievements and stuff, it's definitely cheaper. Yeah, for sure. I found when I got a certain amount of legendary gear, my goals started shooting up as I was saving so much on build tinkering. Yeah, that is definitely a big positive of legendaries. You know, you can swap the gear stats, you can swap the relics, the runes and sigils and stuff, but you can also swap the transmutation very easily. It's free. You know, I have full legendary, so my equipment template fashion wardrobe, I can just swap it on the fly all the time. It doesn't cost me anything. So this is like, you save some money there. And it's also quality of life. Yeah. How do I know which boss attacks I can block, LXS and AED? Essentially, you have to try it. There is not a real reason to see which ones are blockable, which are unblockable, which are instant kill, even with LXS. You have to try it. I would say one-shot mechanics typically cannot mitigate it anyway, like for example, Flame Wall on Sabata, but 90% of the attacks can be blocked, some of the attacks cannot be blocked, you just have to try. That is or read the wiki, that's the other thing. But other than that, it's just like, you don't know it. There is no tell, sadly. How expensive is the legendary relic now? Multiple K. Like, it's more expensive than weapons. That much is for sure. It's really expensive. Can you use the utility of legendaries on multiple characters? Yes. So if I'm on this character right now, I can equip like my Metrologicus, and I can swap to another character and can equip Metrologicus as well. So yes, you can use that on all characters. Yes. Did they change the better Flame Wall to go through Distort at some point? So I'm not sure if they ever changed it, but as far as I remember, you always died. Like, I'm not 100% sure if it was since the beginning, but in the last years, it was always the case. Like, it goes through all invulnerability skills. There is no way to survive the Sabata Flame Wall. Yeah. Nice. Congrats, Tasha. That is a big milestone for getting the accessories, for sure, for sure. What is the achievement here? Okay. That is why Legendary Rings accessories are good to craft first for all characters? Yep, definitely. I think nowadays there are a lot of ways to get ascended items as well, very fast, ascended trinkets. But I think it's still very much worthwhile to just say, okay, I will get the legendary trinkets first as well. Yeah, especially like rings, amulet, and accessories that give a lot of stats is really valuable. That back piece is, I would say, not as urgent, because the back piece is, you know, giving you essentially like 60 stats, which is something like around the number of stats that you get with the infusion, so it's not as important. But the other ones, especially the amulet, if you look at the amulet, that gives you so many stats. It's really important. Welcome, awesome. Welcome. Yeah. I'm 100% sure you were able to use the Guardian Invulnerable Elite to survive the wall. I think I can remember that, yeah. I was, when I said that, I was thinking, yeah, could you not use the, like, how's it called? Renewed Focus to go through? I'm not sure. I'm actually like, now when you say it, I have not tested it in years because, you know, I just avoid the attack because I know it's dangerous. But yeah, it definitely, yeah, definitely had at some point been the case. Yeah, I guess that is true, but I'm not sure if it's still the case. I have no clue. No clue. Have you ever seen someone that managed to match the outfit with Eternity? I don't know. I'm not a fashion guy. I probably have, but I myself have not managed that either way. I just use this legendary for the nice effects. That's it. I don't make my full character look around Eternity, sadly. Yeah, you can use a link if you don't spam them. Links are allowed, of course. Yeah, I'm not. Oh, wait, what is going on? You can mix and match colors like yellow, black, and red with some outfits and try. I guess that can make, you know, the problem with Eternity is that it has a very distinct color palette. And the important part about Eternity is it switches color, obviously, because that's the whole main feature, from being the dark one, Twilight, in the nights, during the night time, and then you have the light one during the day. So it's like, which color do you go from your outfit? Because your outfit does not change color with the day. That would be a cool part of like having your armor or gear swapping depending on the day. But it's definitely like hard to make a whole outfit around it, I would say. But if someone wants to look for Twilight, it will work. Yeah. For Twilight, it works, I guess. For Twilight, it works. It looks. Is there a spec other than Untamed that's good for Ranger and open world? So let me answer this question by saying there is no elite spec in the entirety of Guild Wars 2 that is actually bad in open world, solo builds specifically. But if you're looking for meta, like builds or build that works in meta events very well, I think one of the best ways to get this is probably Untamed is really good. And I think Gale Shot is also pretty solid in meta events. I think Druid is a bit like, do you really want to play a healer? I don't think so. Wait, can I use my mount? No, I cannot glide. I would say probably Untamed is the best for open world, but I think Gale Shot, even Soul Beast are pretty solid in open world as well. Personally, yeah, I think every single spec can be really good in open world. Just have the correct build. And for soloing, I would say Untamed is the king, sure, but I have solo builds for all the others that are also really good, I would say. So it's just you have to have the correct build, and then it works very well. Yeah, that's pretty much the answer there. Yeah, don't forget to enter the giveaway. We will draw the giveaway winner in like 10 minutes or something. So !, enter or ticket in the Twitch chat. You have to be a Twitch follower to win. Subscribers get 5 times the luck. I'm not saying there is you can also play a DPS Druid. I'm just saying DPS Druid is condition based, and an open world condition based in meta events and stuff is not my recommended option. Oftentimes it's better to play power, or at least bursty power, bursty condition builds rather. That's just my opinion, you know. But of course you can play Druid as well. I just think Untamed is better. Yeah, condition Druid sounds like a healer, but it's top 2 in DPS on the benchmarks. But keep in mind, first of all, it's a condition build. And second of all, it's a rather challenging one at that. It's not a build that is like you press 2 buttons and you have the DPS. It's the opposite. You press like essentially like you have very, very high APM. And you have also, I would say, a really like hard, not hard, but somewhat hard to execute rotation. It's definitely one of the builds. If you can perform on it, it's awesome. But just because the benchmark numbers are high doesn't mean you get really high numbers with it as well. Keep that in mind. Yeah, you can. That is true. I also have a low intensity Druid build on my YouTube channel. You can play that, and Nick has that as well. But those are obviously way lower numbers. You will not get to 44k by pressing 5 buttons. Yeah, you get to 35k or something like that. But this is just how it is, you know. You have to accept that low intensity means less DPS, and highest benchmark numbers typically mean a lot of button presses. You have to accept it, I guess. Let's talk to all of them. Yeah, 35k is better than 90% of the packs. I mean, I guess, yeah. There we go. There are a lot of story achievements this time, for sure. Get some rest. That is an interesting command. Let's do that. Can you recommend a DPS build with some support in it, like Resurrection and Bury and Blocks? There are a lot of DPS builds like that, or some of them at least. I would say Virtuoso has that. Virtuoso has blocks, evades, and a lot of CC and stuff like that. If you are looking for a really defensive one with resurrection skills in there, then it's probably the only option that you have is Condition Scourge. And what is there? Like Guardian in general has always some blocks. Dragon Hunter has blocks. Like they're almost like half of the DPS builds has some of the things you mentioned. But I would recommend like Power Virtuoso right now is extremely good with all the blocks and defenses in there. Yeah. Welcome, Real Sateos. Welcome, welcome. I enjoy the new content, yeah. I think the new content is fun. I like the map a lot. I think it's very fun. I'm not the biggest fan of the story so far in terms of like how fast-paced it is. It's not fast-paced. That's the issue that I have with it. But for story enjoyers, I guess it's a decent patch. Herald has some defenses in there, but I think Herald is for me like more of a boon monster than it is a DPS build with good utility. So for example, if you look at boon, like if you look at power DPS, yeah, power DPS Virtuoso, yeah, power DPS Virtuoso has essentially one invulnerability. It has, if you play the offhand sword, you have an evade and a block, and you can bring, if you wanted to, another distortion. So you have essentially 3 defensive buttons that you can press in your kit. And you have an evade on spear. So it's like crazy defenses in the baseline kit. If you compare that to, for example, the build that I'm currently playing, which has essentially 0 defenses, like I have not a single block or like evade in my kit. It's just I have 2 dodge keys. That's it. So there are some big differences in terms of what builds have what defenses. And I think Herald is more in the middle. It's not on top, it's not in the bottom. Can you do Scrapper with Rest Gyro in the DPS build? Maybe? Yes, definitely. Scrapper has that as well. The problem is that Scrapper uses oftentimes the gyro in the DPS rotation. So if you know there will be someone downstat or you fear this might happen, you have to delay the gyro to actually get value out of that. On Scorch, for example, you can just get the stuff, the signet. I can show this, give me a second. You get on Scourge the signet, which is the passive life force generation signet. This is in the DPS like thing already in there. Give me a second, do I have it here? Yeah, DPS Scourge, you see. This is the full DPS Scourge, and I have the signet of Undead just always there. So that's why Scourge is extremely good in extremely hard fights where your group struggles because you bring barrier and stuff like that. You are not the best DPS, but you're very tanky, and you bring a passive, or not a passive, but you bring a resurrection tool with it. That's the good part. Yeah, exactly. I'm between making Revenant or Warrior for Fractals, Open World, and Raids. I really like both of them, and I can't pick one. Play mostly DPS role. I think Warrior right now is the king. Like Warrior Berserker is extremely high DPS. It's very good and very fun. I think Conduit is still very good, but I think all the other Revenant specs in terms of DPS roles are not as good as Warrior. Warrior has Berserker, Warrior has Bladestone, Warrior has Spellbreaker, and even Paragon can be played as a DPS, and they are all top tier, whereas on Revenant it's just Conduit. So I think if you're looking specifically for DPS and you cannot decide between Revenant and Warrior, I would probably go for Warrior, because it's just more usable in a lot of cases. Welcome, Coco, welcome, welcome. There's still a good DPS heal ritualist, or is it nerfed? So you can still play the Zealots build or like full Harrier build on heal ritualist, and you will be completely fine. It really is like a just all around really good like class ritualist. You can still play it. It did get nerfed a bit, yes, but it's still completely fine. So I would say don't worry. If you like ritualist, play it. Yeah. Is Wheelchair Scourge still a build? I would say you play, typically if you play Scourge in a group, personally, I would say you go for Heal Alacrity Celestial Scourge. I would probably go for Celestial Scourge any day of the week above a normal Heal Scourge, because I think normal Heal Scourge is oftentimes just overkill. Like there is not a lot of reasons to take a full Heal Scourge when the Alacrity Heal Scourge can do exactly the same and deal 20k DPS. Yeah, which is really good. That's my opinion there. Yeah. Condi Renegade works also really well if the boss has not too much invulnerability. Top 3 DPS is easy. That's a good point. Renegade is very underrated, but, and that's the big but here, I think Condition Renegade is not a good pick in Fractals anymore. In Fractals, I think there is one fight where it's good, and in a lot of other fights, it's just like you don't play Condi anymore. Fractals are really power favored. So if you play Open World in Fractals, power is typically better. But in Raids, good point, Condi Renegade can shine a lot. Good point, good point. Yeah. Yeah, you cannot teleport downstat bodies anymore with Scourge because Transfusion got completely reworked. It's now essentially a healing trait that you take and gives some stability on your marks. But you cannot teleport downstat bodies anymore. But it's still a really good build for carrying people because you have a lot of barrier, which makes it so that if your enemies hit you constantly or your allies are just not dodging their attacks, you can give them, so to say, a way to just face tank it. And you also have the ability to just heal and deal damage, which is not a lot of healers do that. Yeah. Is there any Soul Beast Longbow PvP build that is any good? You can play some Sikkim, but that's pretty much it. Yeah. What is the hardest thing you soloed, and which class did you do it? I'm not a big, like, crazy try-hard solo player. I think, what was the hardest one that I did? I did like 1 or 2 strike missions solo. That's pretty much it. I did never do anything crazy like Nomixia does, for example. Like, Nomixia is for me one of probably the best solo player, because they soloed, for example, Matthias solo, not Emboldened, which is pretty much one of the hardest raid bosses to solo, because it is like killing you very easily. And that is pretty much, I would say, with Catalyst that was. I personally don't do that many hard solos. I just don't have the patience. That's the main thing. And maybe not the skill. Who knows? Yeah. In 99, 98, and 95, Condi is favored. The thing is, they did some health changes to those fractals. And especially, like, some of them are now considered, I would say, for tryhard groups, they are also somewhat power heavy. That's the funny part. After the health changes, you know, if you remove 20 to 30% of the health of a boss, suddenly they become power favored, because you have so many, you skip phases very easily with power, whereas Condi needs to ramp up anyway. So keep that in mind. But overall, I would say, yes, you are somewhat correct. They are favored. At least in the pack groups, pack scene is still somewhat favored. Yeah, we have to talk about the fractal meta at some point as well. I will see what I can do. Maybe I can bring up some really nice tier lists and stuff like that in the future. I don't have a heal DPS ritualist showcase yet. Maybe I will do that in a video very soon. So stay tuned. Stay tuned. Yeah. Yeah. So it's time to draw the giveaway winner. Last chance to enter. 1 more minute. You have to be a Twitch follower to win. Subscribers get 5 times the luck. Exclamation mark, enter, or ticket. That works, exactly. If it says failed to enter, too many tickets, you're already in. And everyone, good luck. Get in there before I close it. And if you already won, don't worry, you can win again. That's how it works. We are here full freedom, nothing. No one is excluded. Let's see. So I think it's time. I think it's time. Okay, good luck, good luck. And the winner is this time Daniel DS04. Congrats to you. If you're here, let me know if you're on Steam or if you're on normal account or like normal ArenaNet launcher. If you're on Steam, let me know. That's very important. Congrats, congrats. If you're not here and not answering within a minute or like 2 minutes, let's say, I will draw another winner. Nice, you're here, normal account. Perfect, that's what we like to hear. Nice. Very good. There we go. Those are the codes for you. I whispered it on Twitch to you. Congrats, congrats. And that was the last giveaway for today. So how it is. And yeah, don't worry, we will do more streams in the next couple of days. We have Twitch drops going on. We have more content to explore, more story as well. And yeah, I mean, hope you enjoyed the stream. That is also the end of today's stream. And I wish you all a very nice day. Be sure to check out my YouTube channel if you haven't already. Thanks to you all for your support. And enjoy the new patch. Have a nice day. See you around. See you around. Cheers.